everybody. Welcome back to the McDonCast, the funnest podcast in town. The only podcast around.
I don't like that bit. That's a bad bit. I don't like it.
Okay. You know what I don't like? That the bit is becoming me and Sam start it. He does the other thing, and then Max just
references the
thing I said.
And now we say that
We're
part
going to get to the point where our intro's 15 minutes long, and we're just going to be quoting like every
That's what we said last time. That's what
I
Sam
don't watch
said.
these.
It's the exact same thing that Sam said. You're so dumb.
Anyway, everyone.
Now the person listening isn't going to know if this is the last episode or this episode.
We're going to get to the point where every episode is it's going to be like the H3 podcast where you can't tell one episode from a year ago from the one that released yesterday.
Because they're all 4 hours long and just 3 hours of
Ethan going, oh, life's stupid. Republicans are dumb. All right. But hello, everyone. Welcome back. We got a fair bit of news today. We got some Xbox
Obama
news.
came back to the White House.
We got some Unreal Engine news. We got some E3 news. We got some Fallout news. We got some Obi-Wan news. We got some Witcher news. We got some Minions news. We got some Warner Media news. Lots of stupid amount of Warner Media news. And we got a bunch of reviews. We have Moon Knight episode 1, because I forgot to watch episode 2 today. I'm going to watch that after today's episode.
Sam is bad at his job that he doesn't get paid for.
We got Morbius news, or reviews, and we got Young Justice Season 4 Part 2 Episode 1 news reviews. Also some Tech Time stuff.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
Sam, tell us about our first gaming news item for today.
So if you were born in the late 90s or early 2000s, you might remember the beloved point-and-click classic Monkey Island, which is probably the only beloved point-and-click game ever. I'm pretty sure it's the only one that anyone still mentions ever.
King's Quest.
Other than, like, Pajama Sam and Putt Putt Enters the Race. But, yeah, it's getting a full
roster of all-time classics.
Yeah, naturally, the pinnacle of PC gaming. So it's getting a full sequel, and the original writer-director Ron Gilbert is returning, and the game is set to release later this year. Why they don't just make like 15 of these since it's a point-and-click adventure game, I don't know.
I think the IP for this was wrapped up with LucasArts for a long time.
Is this why it took so long to... Is this a Lucas Games thing?
It was a LucasArts thing, and they had a lot of IPs, because I think they had like Sam and Max and a lot of that type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that I don't know what... I think they just kind of got like spread about in between like random people and who owns what.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it took so long. Also, Monkey Island nowadays not the most well-known or proven to be profitable, IP.
It's been gone for a little too long, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll make a comeback. It's not going to be huge. It's a point-and-click game.
Yeah.
It'll be more of a novelty than anything else.
Those have never been huge.
I
even when they were
It'll
bigger.
be a thing where people buy it and they play it for like an hour and they're like, oh, this is neat. I remember when the games were like this, and then they'll turn it off and they'll never finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll like maybe make another one, and that one no one will buy it, and then the franchise will go back into being dormant.
Yep. So, that's coming out. Crystal Dynamics announces that they have officially started work on a new Tomb Raider game to be developed with Unreal Engine 5, which released yesterday, I believe.
It did?
Yep.
Isn't Fortnite on that already?
No, Fortnite's on Unreal Engine 4. But,
still?
Yeah.
I thought when they did the new thing, it was...
No, that was still... They just changed
because they
physics.
had promised they were going to put it on there.
Yeah, they will eventually, but the engine just came out yesterday.
But
so.
Epic makes it.
Yeah, well, Epic doesn't know how to use it very good. No, but they did release in their store the... if you remember that Unreal Engine 5 demo that they did at E3 a couple years ago.
Where it was just like really, really, really... like
where the lights looked
of, like,
really nice
and stuff.
Yeah. So the character from that demo, that girl, they released that character as a skin in Fortnite, and
what's her name?
I don't
Unreal
remember.
Engine 5
She's
girl.
literally from a game that doesn't exist, so I don't know. But yeah, she's
Does
in.
This also count as our weekly Fortnite news section?
This also counts as our weekly Fortnite news.
Put in the stinger.
Fortnite news.
You don't have a stinger.
Actually, we do have Fortnite news. They added building back to the game as its own separate mode now. There were rumors that they were going to bring it back. They did. It's its own thing now.
I think they retitled the season
they also,
2, right?
yeah, they retitled the
Just no
season
build.
2 Resistance they retitled it to Zero Build. because resistance doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Said all
So
this last time.
they wanted it to properly reflect the storyline of the season. There's a new event going on currently where different areas of the map are being not just, you know how they were just like encircled with like a blue or red border, but that didn't actually mean anything. So now there's actually certain parts of the map that are actively like at war, and there you like fight the IO and try to, I don't know, liberate them or whatever.
You know how every season there's like a big skin? What's that for this one?
The Prowler.
Howler?
And also Doctor Strange.
Okay. So that one's the one everybody wants.
Doctor Strange is the level 100 skin, but Prowler is the one that's like the secret one.
Howler. What a big character. What a big get.
Well,
Because they're out of guys.
The story is he's hired by the IO to hunt down, I don't know.
They're running out of
I
characters
guess.
is the real problem.
They're not. They have access to every character.
I know, but they've already done all of it. That's the problem. Like they did Superman.
That's true. They did add a character from a video game that just
Flash,
straight up doesn't exist.
They did Spider-Man. They did Iron Man. They did a million Marvel characters. They did Star Wars. They've done everything. Next, Star Trek. We got to get William Shatner in there. Sam. Anyway, Tomb Raider. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So it's rumored to merge the original games and the reboot, like right now, trilogy timelines.
There's also a dinosaur.
So my guess is that
Time travel.
the MacGuffin of this game
Multiverse.
will be a multiverse crystal or rock.
Yep. Just like the one from Legends of Chima, but
And
except
then
for that's a reference no one understands.
And then the whole bit of the game will be there'll be two different versions of Lara Croft.
Mhm.
You'll have to switch between them, and they won't like each other for dumb reasons, but they'll have to learn to work together. But it won't be co-op, but you'll switch between them, and they'll have slightly different move sets.
They should make it so one's the newer, like normal looking Lara Croft, and the old one is the one from the old game, and she looks
Who's like
all
80
gross and
It's like a
polygonal.
triangle.
Yeah, she just goes, "But we are best friends."
Sort of like the Mario N64 skin from Odyssey.
Yeah. No, what will happen is one will wear like a gray tank top, and the other one will wear a blue.
The promotional
tank top.
image already has the one with the blue tank top on it. Of the promotional image they released. By the way, I
Did they
wasn't
release one?
joking. There is a T-Rex in the game. It's on the promotional art. Yeah, so my guess is, you know how every single fictional universe has a dinosaur island for some reason?
Like Monkey Click.
Yeah, like Monkey Click, Max. What on earth is Monkey Click? Did you just make up a thing? Did you just make up a reference?
Wait, what was the first thing? I thought it was Monkey Click.
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island. Yeah, Monkey Island.
Monkey Click.
No, 'cause I was thinking point and click in Monkey Island.
Yeah, I see why you said that, but it's still dumb.
It's still dumb.
Also, there's
Just
no
like-
dinosaurs in
I
Monkey
can't
Island.
find the promo art. I think you might be looking at
No,
it.
it was released on Twitter with the announcement of the game, like on the
Find it.
So you're
Crystal
saying
Dynamics
it's more
Twitter
like-
account.
Uh,
Or no, it was the Lara Croft Twitter account.
you're saying it's more like Batman Combat.
What?
In the
Shut
point and
up,
click
Max.
Monkey Island adventure game.
I do not want to log into Outlook. Get out of the thing, Google.
Tucker, you want to log into?
Anyway, the point
No,
is,
I'm not. I've almost pulled it up.
Okay, Tucker's almost pulled it up,
No,
guys.
he didn't. He didn't. He didn't. pull it
No,
up.
Sam, this is. Oh, it's a video.
No, and it's just
It's of a guy talking.
Okay, guys, we have to watch the entire video. So
there's also just a.
They'll probably show an image at
They're
the
at
end.
least just a promo image. It's Lara Croft with a brown, like vest, the blue tank top, and there's a T-Rex.
Let's see. I'm gonna read their tweet. They're gonna take their storytelling with the next level with Unreal Engine 5. They really just said the next Tomb Raiders. The real announcement was just we're gonna use the new engine.
Yeah, to make Tomb Raider. So
Oh no, yeah, it's their Twitter banner.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
The dinosaur. Yeah, that's neat.
So
Just
the
like
story of the
Jurassic
game is
Park.
going to be Lara Croft goes to Dinosaur Island because every fictional universe has a Dinosaur Island for some reason.
but
Well-
not Monkey Island.
Max, shut up. And and then on that Dinosaur Island, she's going to find the multiverse crystal, and it's gonna or the time travel crystal, some sort of reality altering
MacGuffin
crystal. And it's gonna bring the other Laura. It's gonna either take her to old Lara Croft world or new Lara Croft, or old Lara Croft to new Lara Croft world. And then the main story is gonna be like they gotta find a way to get her back or something stupid.
Okay. So in this next piece of news, these next two go hand in hand.
Mhm.
So E3 will not be holding an in-person or a digital event this year. They're just doing nothing.
Woo.
So
There's
the
no
E3 is just dead now then.
In 2 years.
But they did promise to come back in 2023 as a better in-person event. That's a lie. It's dead. It's never coming back.
It's done.
Comic-Con did the same thing. COVID year, they were like, we're going to do Comic-Con at home, and then we'll come back later with a bigger in-person event.
And
Comic-Con has not come back.
No, they did.
But every corporation pulled out.
Not the big ones. Not the San
Not
Diego
San
ones.
Diego.
All the small ones did.
San Diego
They still did,
Comic-Con.
like the
All the people, it's still happening, but it's like what old Comic-Con was.
Which is like Dark Horse
which
Comics.
was literally like comic book companies were there, and it was just the writers, and you just walked around and like bought action figures and talked to Marv Wolfman.
Yeah.
But like E3, it's dead. It's never coming back.
At the most, it'll come back as a trade show, which is what it was before.
The reason it makes complete sense why Nintendo is actually ahead of the curve on this one. Woo.
See, that's the thing I'm saying. Nintendo is always ahead of the curve sometimes.
They are the kings of left field.
Yeah.
But they have been doing a digital event for years. In 2020, everyone else started doing digital events because they couldn't do in-person events.
Mhm.
Now everyone realized, hey, it's cheaper, and there's way less chance of total mishap if we just all do digital things. And so they're all going to do that now.
Mm-hmm.
So Xbox is saying they're already planning on a digital game showcase in June. Anyway, Nintendo will probably do the same. They'll probably just do it direct.
Yeah, whatever thing they were going to do.
Because they plan what's in their directs way ahead of time. So whatever they're planning on. And they also try to do one like after a certain amount of time each time. So that makes sense that they'll just do one in June. PlayStation, that's a little bit more iffy. They're weird on when they do stuff. We'll probably get one that summer. I don't know if it'll be around the same time as everyone else. EA already said they're not doing anything. And Square Enix probably won't do anything. Ubisoft will probably
Square Enix also announced they weren't doing anything.
Ubisoft will probably do a 4-hour event about nothing where they just talk about Tom Clancy games and like microtransactions for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
This just in, Immortals Phoenix Rising. We're doing more DLC.
They'll talk about their new Quartz NFT system.
Oh, we have more NFT
No, they'll
news.
just talk about the new year of R6.
So Sam, speaking of NFTs and Ubisoft, so Ubisoft announces that
my two favorite things, by the way.
Yeah. They've stopped working on new content for Ghost Recon Breakpoint after the NFT event they did in January. That was the last.
So
thing
they're canceling their Quartz NFT system.
But they did announce
Wow,
that they're
so long.
going to integrate NFTs into all Ubisoft titles in some way.
Oh, so it's worse.
It's much worse.
Now in Assassin's Creed
My
Valhalla,
guess is the only
you
one they
can run
want
around
is
as a
Mario and
little
Rabbids
monkey.
because Nintendo's going to be like, we don't know what that is.
Nintendo's going to be like, so we still don't have fax machines. What on earth is a? You said it was a. What is fungible? What does that even mean?
Sam, you're a big fan of NFTs.
Naturally, yes.
How do you feel about this?
This is stupid. Why? What's the point?
Money.
How is this different than what we already have?
Money.
How is it? I pay money for Fortnite skins. How is this different?
Because now you pay more money
But is that
for a
it?
picture of a Fortnite skin.
Oh, so wait, is it just a profile picture?
No. So the way that their Quartz system works is it's like each. Say you get a. You know how they have loot boxes?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the loot drops are NFTs. So like the helmet is an NFT and it's got like a serial number on it. That is like its NFT thing, and then you can auction them off as NFT. So let's say you're a streamer,
okay.
right?
So they made
Your
basically
character
did
has
the
a really
CS:GO.
cool helmet. Let's say next year comes around, there's another new cool helmet. You go, hey audience, I'm auctioning off my character's helmet, and you can buy it for $1 million.
Okay, so it's what happened with CS:GO.
So you
where
buy
the loot crates drop certain
Jacksepticeye's
things.
character's helmet,
That's right.
and you become the same. You're the same person. You just own a celebrity's fictional digital helmet now
That was
Yeah.
what happened in CS:GO.
that you can't use in real life.
Or in the game.
Mom,
Well, no, you can use them in the game. It's like
What?
it
You
is,
can use NFTs in the game?
no. The whole point is like the in-game items are NFTs. So
It's like if you bought a Fortnite
you know how
skin and then
the
it was an
Spider-Man
NFT.
skin is in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Imagine if each Spider-Man skin had a number on it, and
And
you
you
could
can-
auction them off because they're all NFTs. The difference is you can resell
The point
them,
is
which
is
you
I-
could already do with CS:GO skins. So really, this
Yeah.
makes no sense.
The point
That's
is
what they
I
did
love
like
NFTs.
10 years ago with
Yeah.
CS:GO. That's what happened. They just
And I'm pretty
recreated
sure it was
that.
banned.
NFTs are
No,
real
no,
cool.
it still happens.
Ubisoft is my favorite
They
company,
actually
not the worst company. They're the best.
Thank you, Ubisoft.
Never been the worst company.
Are they better? Are they slightly better than EA?
Yes.
Maybe they're slightly better than EA.
They make good games sometimes.
Every 4 to 5
well, but EA
years.
made Jedi Fallen
EA
Order.
made
though.
one good game in 20 years.
That's true. But name a
And it
good...
was broken when it came out.
Okay, but the only good game that Ubisoft has made in the last like 10 years is like Skyrim. It's like it.
They don't even make that.
Or 6.
Who makes that?
It does.
Oh yeah. So what does Ubisoft make?
Or 6.
Every Tom Clancy game. Those are all them.
Tom
but-
Clancy's or 6.
Yeah, but that was
Mario
made like
plus
7 years
Rabbids,
ago,
That's
Max.
them.
Okay, yes.
But that's like
Assassin's
90%. I
Creed.
guarantee you that's like 90%.
Yeah, they made
Nintendo.
Assassin's
Creed,
Creed.
that's them.
Immortals Phoenix Rising, which was just a knockoff.
No
of
one's
Zelda.
cared about Assassin's Creed for anything other than benchmarking
No.
since like the third one.
My one friend on PlayStation plays it sometime.
It's cool, Max.
Far Cry, they make those.
Oh, everyone loves those.
Watch Dogs.
Just
Oh,
Dance
everyone loves
2022.
Just Dance, they make Just Dance.
Oh, everyone loves
Ooh,
those.
those are
Remember
good
For
games.
Honor? They
Oh,
made
did you
that.
see they added oh, what's his name?
Oh, they made Rayman.
Oh, they make Rayman. Those are always
Yeah,
good.
those are okay, but they haven't made one in like 5
They
years.
haven't made one in forever. They keep
who's
just porting
Little
Rayman
Nas X.
Rayman
You know that
Legends.
song where he, slides?
Yes.
Yes. They added that to Just Dance.
Like the song?
Yeah, but and the
Is that a
like the
dance
little
move in
puppet is like a devil guy. You know, they have the little puppet dancing, and you're supposed to do what they do.
This is on a Nintendo system.
I just thought that was funny. Anyway, what's the next thing we have here?
TV news.
No, we got. Oh wait, yeah, we're good.
I
TV
already
news
said
time.
it.
TV news. Yeah, that was
TV
all. I
news.
didn't realize those were all like the same thing.
Trailers.
So we have no
None.
new trailers this week, but we do have Ella.
Actually, I had a
Purnell.
House of the Dragon one. I might have just forgot to put it in.
There was a House of the Dragon trailer.
Yeah, I just didn't. I
That
didn't
seems
watch
like kind of a big deal.
it. I forgot to put it in.
What did something? I didn't see it. I didn't even know it came out. YouTube didn't recommend it to me, so I missed it.
Yeah, I saw it, and it was the day like after we recorded the last episode.
hmm
So I didn't put it in. I just forgot.
Is Rhaegar
I think-
Targaryen in it?
It's Matt Smith's in it from
Is
Morbius.
he playing Rhaegar Targaryen?
He plays playing one guy with white hair.
That's probably Rhaegar Targaryen.
yeah,
I think his
maybe.
name's Rhaegar.
I don't know
remember.
anything about Game of Thrones.
He's the one who was the king before the show starts.
I think it's like 200 years before the show starts.
then he's probably that
It's
guy's
whatever
dad.
that guy's dad is.
Yeah,
or
his
dad's dad.
his great dad.
All right, Sam. I have news about Fallout.
I see that we have news about
Ella
Fallout.
Purnell will star in the Fallout TV series for Amazon Prime.
There's a Fallout TV series coming to Amazon Prime.
Yes, apparently.
Did we talk about this before?
I think it was like a rumored thing, but now it's officially happening.
All right. Well, that's something.
Question
Sam,
is-
will a Fallout show work?
No.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The same with every single video game adaptation ever. The answer is always maybe.
Well, No. Some of them just straight up won't.
like
Mario will never work as a television series.
you mean like other than the television series they already did that
Was it
worked
good?
fine? It was for like 6-year-olds. It
I
was
was gonna
fine.
say Kirby won't work, but Kirby
Kirby also had an anime.
They've made a lot of Nintendo shows, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, they don't. They're all cartoons, but yeah.
Yeah, but like they made a Zelda cartoon. They made a
Okay,
Kirby
that
cartoon,
one definitely did fail,
Pokemon cartoon. Star Fox almost got a cartoon.
and probably easily would have worked as one.
They canceled it
Like
because people
Fallout
wanted
definitely could be a show. I don't know enough about the story of Fallout.
it. Fallout, I think, would work better than like maybe it would probably work better than like
Because
Elder
it's a
Scrolls.
fairly narrative-driven game to begin with, as far as I understand.
It's open world and it's mostly about like interacting with NPCs.
Mhm.
So if you can get like characters out of people who would be in the game, that might work. I think the problem with Fallout is there's not really like an overarching story. It's mostly just it's the apocalypse. Do
I
apocalypse.
think they
If
should
Amazon
just,
is teaming up
um,
with Bethesda and trying to knock off Game of Thrones. Why didn't they just make a Skyrim show?
Well, they're knocking off Game of Thrones via the Lord of the Rings show.
And
And
also
the
Wheel of Time. I'm
show.
saying ditch Wheel of Time, do Skyrim.
No,
well,
I
they
think
were
Skyrim
only
would be
doing
too
Wheel of
hard.
Time until Lord of the Rings came out.
Because
Is
And if
Skyrim's-
that
done now?
fails, then they'll just keep making it because they've already wasted $600 million on it.
That's
Skyrim's
true.
a lot of just like wandering around and then
Yeah,
the
Skyrim,
That's
I don't
what
think-
Fallout's the same. Fallout and Skyrim are basically
But,
the
like,
same game.
Fallout, you would
one of
maybe-
them's just in a
Fallout,
fantasy
you
setting,
could
and one of
maybe
them's in
do
a
some
nuclear
like
Fallout
interesting
world.
stuff
Yeah,
with like creatures.
Elder Scrolls is kind of just
Elder
you're
Scrolls
the
is mostly just
Dragonborn.
in the woods, and
Go
then there's
fight
like
people.
just like a medieval
Yeah, but like,
Dragon.
dragon guy.
Dragon.
most of
Fight
Fallout is
dragon.
wandering around in the desert and then running into like a
But
mutant
there's
dog.
also a dog.
Yeah, well, in Skyrim you have a horse
That
sometimes.
horse can't talk.
Well, make it talk then.
And the dog
Yes,
can't talk, but the dog is a
people
dog.
you enslave can't.
Give the character a wolf then.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Fallout show, sure. Why not?
Go
It could
ahead.
work. I don't know.
Amazon's got infinite money. They can just do whatever they want.
It's not gonna hurt little Bezos.
Yeah.
It is interesting that Amazon is investing so much in video game stuff though, because I think they were also the one doing that the BioShock show. They were doing the God of War one too.
God of War, I think, will work.
God of War will work.
It should work.
Because the fourth game has
You'd
a
have to
storyline.
try to really mess. You'd have to try pretty hard to mess that one up.
The only problem God of War could potentially run into is that God of War 4 is a lot of just the two characters, and if you can't work that dynamic out, it wouldn't work very well.
There's more characters though.
Yeah, but the main focus is on
The
those
main
two.
focus
Well,
is
yeah.
like Kratos and his son walking up a mountain,
But it's a lot of like. Well,
It's like the Mandalorian, but if Grogu could talk back.
which is probably what
Yeah.
they'll end up ripping off because Hollywood will just rip off other things, even though if the thing they're
No, but
adapting
you
as
also
original
talk
ideas.
to stupid dwarven dudes, and they go, "I hate my brother. Ooga booga booga. Here's a sword." And then you also talk to the guy in the tree who.
They
we
all
didn't
say
say that there
"Ooga booga
are
booga."
in the
I'm
Mandalorian.
just
They
saying.
talk to other characters. I'm
Yeah,
just saying
yeah,
it's
I
a
know,
similar
I know.
dynamic.
Okay, Sam.
Also, the dragon we talked about that already.
But it's going to come out on
It's coming out
HBO
on
Max
August
21st. So at the
so-
end of summer, like 2 weeks before that Lord of the Rings show comes out.
2 weeks before it gets pushed back 2 weeks. Obi-Wan has been pushed from May 25th to May 27th, so a whole 2 days.
So it was going to come out on
And in compensation, we're getting a dual episode release for this 4-episode long show.
No, okay. First things first. This is coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
It's now going to premiere. The first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan are now going to come out the same day as the first half of Stranger Things 4. So 2 long delayed things are finally coming out. Let me see what movies are releasing that day.
This just in, we're
If there
delaying
are,
the
they
rest
might,
of Moon
They might
Knight.
end up moving. Just because like that's way too much stuff already.
Yeah, it's going to kill all the hype for your thing.
Movies coming out May 27th. Top Gun Maverick also comes out that day.
Yeah.
And the Bob's Burgers movie.
But that's
Which one of those 4 things do you think will lose the hardest?
Yeah,
that
so
day?
Bob's Burgers is dead. It was always dead. I don't know why
That's
it's even a
just
movie.
It had a chance of like maybe
No.
like it depends if they spent like $5
Tucker,
million.
you have a lot of conversations with people about the Simpsons movie. Does that come up often in everyday conversation?
But I do know a lot of people who watch that show.
guys.
I don't know a lot of people who watch The Simpsons.
But it depends on if they spent like $10 million on that. I think it could make just
Animated
a couple
TV shows
dollars.
that become movies don't usually
work.
do
It
well.
just-
Simpsons movie made like $600.
Yeah, that's because
Yeah,
nothing
but
was-
no one actually
because-
talks about it, or it's
Yeah.
not. It's not like a thing people
Well,
talk
not
about.
now. It came out like 13 years ago.
Yeah, I'm saying this. Okay, yeah, but even like 10 years ago, no one talked about the Simpsons movie. Like this will very quickly sort of fall to the wayside
The point
of society.
is that that's too many things on one day. So
it's
yeah,
gonna be
we're
like
gonna get
Bob's Burgers movie. Am I right? Oh, Linda, it's so funny.
What is he doing?
Bob's Burgers impression, I think.
What is this bit? Shut up, Max.
You guys don't understand my humor.
So,
I'm just too
they're
smart
doing,
for
so yeah, they're
y'all.
doing a dual episode premiere on Friday, and the show's gonna air weekly on Fridays.
For 2 weeks because it's
So-
4 episodes long.
Miss Marvel comes out June 9th on a Wednesday, so they're already gonna be airing at the same time, but this is gonna make them air on different days, which makes complete sense. I understand why they wouldn't want those
Yeah.
airing on the same day, but the dual episode premiere and Miss Marvel's still airing at the same time makes me think they're doing this not because of Miss Marvel, but because we're getting another Star Wars show right after this, and that's either Bad Batch season 2 or Andor, because those are both supposed to scheduled to come out during the summer. Andor is 12 episodes. That's 3 whole months.
I feel like
of
it'll
stuff.
probably be Andor. I feel like we would have heard something about Bad Batch if it was Bad Batch.
and Andor they started filming like 2 years ago.
It's been in production for a while.
It's been in production for a while. It's probably going to come out very soon.
I don't know why.
And-
because no one cares about Andor.
I don't know why they're making that show.
I do not care about Andor. He was like,
And
he wasn't a bad character, but he's not the most interesting guy.
It's twice as long as the Obi-Wan show. It's 12 episodes, and it's already been picked up for season 2.
Okay, to be fair, Andor was probably doing more than Obi-Wan was doing.
And
when he was
they
sitting on the
don't
desert.
even have K2SO in it. He's not even going to be in it till season 2.
Well, yeah, because it's
He was
a prequel, right?
He was going to be in season 1, and then they cut him out, and they moved him to season 2. Like, because when they announced the show, like, they brought out Alan Tudyk, and they were like, look, we're going to do the Andor and K2SO show. And then later on, they were like, never mind, it's just Andor. Andor all the time, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that's lame, but, you know, whatever.
So Disney Plus is moving back to Fridays after moving out of Fridays. What is this, Sam? What are you doing?
Had a lot of crumbs on my shirt.
Which show do you think will do better? Obi-Wan or Stranger Things?
Obi-Wan.
Because I don't really care about Stranger Things.
Well, you're gonna watch
There's a good chance I'm not even gonna see it.
You're gonna watch it.
Are you buying Netflix again?
I might.
And I might watch it.
I think it's 9 episodes and it's splitting into 2 parts, so it's only gonna be like 4 episodes.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's culturally significant enough that you just kind of have to watch it.
Yeah, it's been so long since the last season, though.
But Stranger Things is still huge. Every time I go outside with that stupid T-shirt on, someone still goes, "That's my favorite show." That's how you know
it's still relevant. Because idiots.
No, because people
like
think
when I went to Whataburger with my Star Wars shirt on, and 2 different employees at 2 different points in time were like, "Oh, hey, I love that shirt. Have you seen all the movies?" I'm like,
"No.
There's not that many movies. I have seen all of them, yes."
Have you seen all the Simpsons movies?
There's one.
Only one.
No,
like,
have
okay,
you watched the
if you saw someone wearing like a Looney Tunes shirt, you wouldn't go, "Oh, I love the Looney Tunes." Have you seen every episode? Like, that's not a normal thing you
like
ask
the
someone
Looney
after that.
Tunes? Name every episode, please.
No, next time someone asks you that, just be like, "Oh yeah, Wrath of Khan's my favorite," and they'll be like, "I don't think that's a Star Wars movie," and you'll be like, "Yes, it is." You
Well,
just
if they
haven't seen
ask me if I've seen all the movies, they probably haven't. So they might think
That's
that Wrath
true.
of Khan
No, you
is a
just
Star
go-
Wars
you
movie.
just go,
Yeah, and then they'll
what's
go
Star Wars?
look up Wrath of Khan, and they'll be like, "This is a Star Trek."
You'd
What's
be
Star
like,
Trek?
"What? No, it's not. I'm wearing the Star Wars shirt. I clearly know more about Star Wars than you."
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Star Wars movie, Hogwarts Academy. That's my favorite.
I like how
Star Wars
we
movie.
reverse gatekeep things. We're like, no, just don't. Who cares? Anyway,
I don't care if idiots watch stuff. It's just I don't want them talking to me about it.
Okay, so yeah, is that it for the Obi-Wan news?
Kinda.
Yeah.
So Star Wars Celebration May 26th, which will be
the day
the
before
day
Obi-Wan.
before Obi-Wan comes out, they're gonna do panels for Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Shocking.
Andor, and The Mandalorian, which are the 3 shows releasing this
So
year.
Andor is definitely coming out.
Andor
after
is definitely
Obi-Wan.
coming out right after. And Bad Batch is still supposed to come out this year, but I don't know if
I feel like Bad Batch will come out during the winter. What other shows do they have scheduled for that time area?
we don't have anything scheduled for winter right now.
So then
because Disney Plus announces everything, they're doing like a month.
Because Bad Batch carries for a while. That's a pretty long.
Yeah, if they're doing the same
compared to
amount of
most of their
episodes-
shows, that's the longest one I think they have.
Bad Batch airs. It's like 16 episodes for season 1.
Yeah,
That's like 4 months.
and
of
I think
TV.
season 2 was a slightly shorter, like 12 episodes.
Season 2 they haven't done yet, Sam.
I thought, okay, I always confuse Clone Wars
Clone
with
Wars.
yeah, because it's basically just season 1 of
No, but Bad Batch, they have to air it as the same time as something else.
Yeah.
That can't be the only thing they're doing.
Yeah, Bad Batch season 2.
You need to just.
Season
not
1
release
had
it
so
weekly.
much filler. There were like 4
It was all
episodes that really
filler.
mattered because they
Fine.
introduced
I
this
never even
character.
finished
Shoot, what's her name?
Omega.
Omega. And like they literally just she's the question box. Who's the director?
The mystery
J.J.
box?
Abrams,
Yeah.
the question box that he always has. Like she's there to make the audience ask questions about like what, huh? How does this work? Who are you? What, huh? And we haven't gotten any answers about that yet, other than we know she's a clone, and she is like a pure clone, similar to Boba Fett, which
But also a girl.
also clearly modified though, because you know they're
Girl.
genetically not the same,
And most likely force sensitive.
and very blatantly sometimes kind of force sensitive.
I perfectly cloned him. That's a frog. I perfectly cloned him.
But it's a genetically identical
Mac,
frog.
It's a space frog, so it's got purple. It's like purple in his horns.
But yeah, so I'm I hope in season 2 they don't just not address it
gonna
again.
mostly-
I really hope they don't just not address it again, so that in season 3
they-
I don't
if
want them
they-
to keep stringing us
yeah,
along
if
with
they
this.
if they do like the same amount of filler as season 1,
I know
hope-
they probably will.
I hope it's at least a whole show, a season dump.
I need
Or
to
like-
just release.
I'm
Here's
okay
8,
with
here's
filler, but I want there to be some sort of part of the story that is interesting at some point. Like I want to get answers about Omega. I don't really care about what else is going on.
The reason Clone Wars worked in the weekly format is because it was an anthology show. So it
Yeah.
was 4 episodes, and at the end of those 4 episodes, whatever arc that was would be finished. And if the next arc was boring, you just didn't have to watch it until the next one.
Yeah.
And it was airing on TV, so it made sense.
Yeah, with Disney, with the Bad Batch, the problem is that every week is continuing on.
Mm-hmm.
And so what ends up happening is everything is just a mission of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine, but like it gets repetitive.
That was
really,
Rebel's
really fast.
biggest problem.
We gotta go stop the
So I hope they just dump the whole
ranky-bangy.
season at once, so I can just binge
Yeah.
watch it, and then I'll be done with it.
Or at least if they're gonna do weekly format, they need to make each episode like 40 or 50 minutes.
And it doesn't make sense for that show because the whole point of the weekly format in the streaming age is everything's a 6-episode season. So every episode there's something to talk about on the internet.
Yeah.
Which is why they do that. But there's not that in Bad Batch. Every
it's
episode
just a cartoon.
Yeah, it's just a cartoon. So if there's no big thing for anyone to talk about, just dump the whole season. No one's gonna keep their Disney Plus subscription because of Bad Batch. They're gonna watch it because they have it.
Yeah, like all my Star Wars friends watched Bad Batch, but it's not like The Mandalorian where like each week we're like, oh my gosh, did you see this cool thing that happened? Like it was just like, okay, Bad Batch is out.
Yeah, remember when we talked about
it? I'll download the episode. I'll watch it during computer science because it's a free period today. Like that, sort of the vibe with that show. But
Hunter, I'm sad.
Omega.
I think
that's my name.
I mean, Disney Plus still has a super large amount of stuff to release this year. I think Bad Batch it has the most likely potential of being dropped all at once because we're also supposed to get What If Season 2 this year, and that's also another long thing.
This year?
Oh right, I don't care.
We're supposed to get She-Hulk, which is going to be 10 episodes.
Oh, another.
We're supposed to get Mandalorian Season 3, but I think that'll probably get delayed because they just finished filming like a couple of weeks ago.
Did they say when?
I'm really interested to see how Multiverse of Madness tackles.
We're supposed to get the Marvel Halloween special this year too, and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see because Multiverse of Madness is really the first movie where we're starting to see these shows sort of play into the grander story of the MCU.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see how this movie is received because I know for a fact more people are going to watch this movie than watched WandaVision.
Yeah, most likely.
And more people are going to watch this movie than watched What If. So I'm curious to see how these continuing stories will work. Like, because obviously Vision is dead now.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what? But, yeah, and like White Vision will, I don't think he'll show up in
I
this.
love all the
But he's going to
WandaVision-
show up eventually.
I love all the
maybe we're gonna be like,
WandaVision
We'll see what
stands.
they figure out.
The WandaVision stands that are like, guys, Wanda can't be the bad guy.
Oh, she's definitely not.
No, she is.
No, have you seen the new trailers though, where she's like clearly fighting alongside them, like blatantly, like they're just like standing in like a group shot and they're fighting something. I think she'll be like a minor villain for like the first 30 minutes.
The rumor was Nightmare though, so it could end up.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely Nightmare.
It's Nightmare because the whole trailer is about them having spooky dreams.
You saw the new one today, right?
Yeah, they're about spooky dreams.
Well, Doctor Strange says, "I keep having the same dream every night," and then Wanda responds,
"Also has dreams."
No, she says, "I keep having the same nightmare."
Yeah.
That's like
it's Nightmare.
It's Nightmare.
It's so Nightmare.
Definitely Nightmare.
Okay. Solve that mystery.
Watch it be Matt Smith again. How disappointing would it be if Supreme Strange is just Nightmare and it's not actually Supreme Strange?
No, okay.
No, Sam, it's Mephisto. He's Mephisto, Sam.
No, I think going back to the Disney Plus like tie-in thing. Mm-hmm. I think they're already one step ahead, and they've kind of figured out which ones people are more likely to watch versus not watch. Mm-hmm. So I think like, what if all the people who show up from that, I think they're gonna explain who they are, so the general audience gets it, so they don't have to watch the show.
Mephisto guy.
But like WandaVision or like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think those are gonna be the ones where they're like, you have to watch these. But if it's like Miss Marvel, when she shows up in the Marvels, they're gonna pretty much explain her whole deal like really fast at the start. But I think it's just gonna depend entirely on depend on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Doctor Strange 2. The tickets went on sale, by the way, and there was some new footage. If that was another thing I didn't.
Well, there was a trailer released today,
and they released like 7 different posters at once. Did you see that? They dumped like 4 different posters.
Did you see that one where like everything looks really psychedelic and cool, and then there's like the punch girl just like in like a PNG cutout just standing in the middle like.
Because normally how they do it is they'll release like a teaser poster.
Doctor Strange has always had the best posters of the MCU, like hands down.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think it's even really a contest. Like what movie has posters that are on that same level?
Shang-Chi. Remember the poster of him standing like this?
Mm-hmm. That was the best poster.
I love all the Marvel posters that are just
that poster of him
Black
sitting
Panther
in
one was
the
pretty
chair.
sick. Yeah, that one was pretty sick though.
I like all the ones that are just a bunch of.
Yeah, just a bunch of heads.
That we can't get out of
it's
that.
Tom Holland.
That's why I like the Doctor Strange ones.
I love that we have not figured out a
actually
way to get out of the floating head poster.
like the Doctor Strange ones. Like clearly, an artist was like actually made a concept for this.
Drew Struzan is not dead, and no one is hiring him.
All right, guys,
I'm just saying.
what do we do for the poster? I did it. We're done.
I put a bunch of heads on a gray glowy background.
Okay, so I pulled out all their heads and stuck them to this poster, and now it's complete. This is perfect.
Like remember remember like even older comic book movies? Like remember the first Spider-Man posters, and it wasn't just his head; it was like him crawling up a building, and you had like the light reflecting,
perspective shot,
and you could see the bad guy in his lens. It was all this cool stuff. And now the new Spider-Man posters are literally just Tom Holland's face, Jake Gyllenhaal's face, and Nick Fury's face next to each other.
Well, because back then
the character was the selling point.
Now Spider-Man was selling the movie. Now Tom Holland is selling the movie. So there's been a shift in like perspective there.
Guys, I don't know what you're talking about.
That their faces on the poster.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is a great poster. Okay, this is a beautiful poster.
The new Spider-Man posters I think are by far the worst in the MCU.
Oh yeah,
I don't think there's any debate there.
My other favorite one is this one. This is a great poster too.
That's the same poster with a triangle added on.
The Homecoming poster where it's like him and Iron Man, and then like all their faces in like fire. That one's okay. And then the
poster. So much better.
Like the fourth No Way Home poster, where that was like the city like spinning and like the portals opening and like Electro. That one was cool.
But that one also wasn't in America. I think that one was like only in Japan or something like that.
No, the Japan one was the one in front of all the billboards. All like
all these posters.
Which that one was cool too.
And I also
that one's good. That one's fine.
They inserted the little Green Goblin guy in every poster in the same pose.
That was the best No Way Home poster. Was this one?
Yeah. Well, I don't like the octopus arms. I think everything else is pretty good.
But like all of the ones other than that were literally like him like on a pile of burning, like vague burning rubble, and then like explosions in the background.
Like even this is better than just floating heads.
That one I like that teaser poster.
Yeah, I like the one where he's laying down.
Where it's just laying, and then you see New York, and it's just the date.
I just like the ones where really the ones I hate were the ones from Far From Home. The Far From Home was the worst ones by far. Yeah,
it was either all their heads or just Spider-Man like
standing like
posing on the ground.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway, moving on from that tangent.
Speaking of boring things, a Sherlock Holmes universe is in the works at HBO Max, with 2 series being developed, with Robert Downey Jr. executive producing both.
So is it a continuation?
It's unknown whether he'll reprise the role. So this is going to be in the universe as the 2 movies.
So he's definitely going to reprise his role.
He was
why
Sherlock
wouldn't
Holmes.
he be doing that?
Apparently, it's going to be based on characters that appear in Sherlock Holmes 3, but that's not in production yet. And it ties into HBO Max's larger plan to build multiple series around many film properties, including the It prequel show we talked about a while ago, that Penguin Batman show, and then the Ben Gesserit spinoff from Dune. So their plan is big tentpole movie, HBO Max show that doesn't play into it, but involves one small thing.
If any IP...
They're also doing that with Peacemaker, I guess.
If any IP in the world would lend itself well to multiple ongoing... You know, a bunch of movies, a bunch of shows in the same universe.
It's not Sherlock Holmes.
It's definitely Sherlock Holmes.
No, it isn't.
Do you know how many Sherlock Holmes books there are?
But Sam,
they could make like 15 seasons and have each episode be an entire book, and they'd still have 80 books.
You're missing
how many of those Sherlock Holmes books were about Sherlock Holmes?
That doesn't matter.
How many of them were not about Sherlock Holmes?
That's not important.
It does when the sequel shows talk about him.
But those are spin-off shows, you see. Don't you see? But don't you understand?
You know what they'll end up doing? They'll introduce like a new girl character who is just the same as Sherlock Holmes.
Like Enola Holmes?
Guys.
Shut up, Max.
What if Nancy Drew crossover?
Anyway. No, what they'll end up doing is they'll introduce a character who is just Sherlock Holmes in the 3rd movie, and then they'll just do a show about this character who is basically just Sherlock Holmes.
It'll be Enola Holmes or whatever.
Yeah, it'll just be Enola. There's too many Sherlock Holmes things.
You know the 2 biggest...
These should never been put in the public domain.
The 2 biggest Sherlock Holmes like shows, or I guess the Netflix
Sherlock
ones.
And Enola Holmes.
No, but like you remember the BBC Sherlock show with Doctor Strange?
Sherlock, yeah.
The big spoilers for that show. This is a pretty big spoiler, so if
it
is a very good show. Watch the show
until the end.
Until the end for this reason. The big spoiler of the whole show is that he has this sister who's like a mega psychomania genius who's been like controlling the entire world from her prison cell. Because she's just like so much billion quadrillion times smarter than everyone on Earth.
Yeah.
Except she's just kind of like dumb, but that's not important. So that's two Sherlock Holmes properties relatively recently released. Where the main gimmick was like
she has a sister.
He has a sister
who's also good or better than him at everything.
Yeah. So it'll be great to see another Sherlock Holmes property.
I can't wait.
The twist is he has a sister that is as good or better than him at everything.
Competing Sherlock Holmes franchises on 2 different streaming services with two different big name superhero actors playing Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
One is Henry Cavill, and one is Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why this to build HBO Max? Like, does anyone even remember those movies?
It's because there's so much source material and they have a lot to adapt.
But like,
it is very easy to make because everyone knows Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, but does anyone remember these
Everyone
movies?
knows Sherlock Holmes.
But does anyone remember these two movies in particular?
That doesn't even matter because you can just sell it as its own thing, even if you haven't seen those movies. And just say Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes. Even if you haven't seen those movies, you'll be like, whoa, this super famous guy from Iron Man is this super famous character that everyone
he's not
on
going to be
Earth
starring
knows?
in either of them.
Well, he's probably... There's no way he's not going to be Sherlock.
He'll pop up in them, but he's not going to be the main character for either of the shows. But I think we watched the first one at some point.
I've seen the first one. I don't know if I've seen the second one. I don't remember.
I don't think anyone's seen Game of Shadows. I don't even think that one made any money. Which makes me question, because this third one, that's been in development forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, since Game of Shadows came out, they've been trying to put this third one together. And it just
But I think that's mostly
never
just because
happened.
he's been so busy with the MCU.
Yeah.
That they just haven't been able to get it.
And
out
he
of
used his off time
the
to make
ground.
Doolittle for no reason.
Hey, he was also in The Boss, or what was it? Chef? He was in Chef.
He was in the Chef for like one scene. He had a cameo in Chef. And that's because Jon Favreau was making it. Anyway, Sam, what do you think of this whole HBO Max plan? Do you think it's going to work?
I think it's a good plan. I don't know if it'll work.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
But Sam, is it a good
But
plan?
I think it's definitely a... I mean, I understand why they chose to these IPs specifically. It is huge.
Yeah.
It is still really not it like the concept. The story about the evil
the
clown.
The Stephen King book.
Yeah. It is still very big. Those
Especially
movies made a lot of
especially
money.
the first one.
Yeah.
First one was like the highest grossing, or it's still the highest grossing horror movie.
Yeah, like that.
Oh,
That is a
Scream
massive
5.
IP.
And then part 2 made less money, but that was because it was like 3 hours long, and it's about the adult part, which is the much less interesting part.
Yeah.
Which with this prequel, they're so definitely going back to kids.
Yeah.
It's so going to be the kids again.
It's
Whenever
just
they
gonna-
bring it back,
This is
it's
their
always
Stranger
going to be
Things.
more.
This is their Stranger Things.
It's always going to be more kid stuff.
The Penguin series, I love the new Batman universe they've created. Any other content or stories they're telling from that universe, I am happy to watch. And especially with the way that they have it set up after the Batman.
Yeah, it's a very interesting.
It's a very interesting
Jumping off
time
point.
period for Gotham and specifically the character of the Penguin.
Yeah.
So I'm all down for that.
And then the Ben Gesserit stuff, anything that helps me understand whatever the crap Dune's about,
great.
is good.
The fact that people like Dune
Now
and that movie wasn't
well.
a mess
yeah.
is a incalculable miracle.
It's almost as if the director should have been nominated for an Academy Award for that coming together.
The fact that he was able to not only tell a story in the Dune universe, but have it make sense when even the book had a... You know why the book is so big? Because the whole back half of it is a dictionary explaining what all of the made-up words from Dune mean. The fact that he was able to take that and make it make sense is a miracle.
yeah.
And again, that movie was great. Any more content from the Dune universe is I'm fine with. I like what Warner Bros. Is doing right now with everything except DC. So
Except for their biggest potential franchise. And Sam, speaking of new hot franchises, Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Society.
Squid Game.
The Squid Game creator says he hopes that season 2 will release by the end of 2024. That's a relatively quick turnaround for a show.
For a show that wasn't planning on being
that
as
he
big
did
as
not
it-
expect at all to have a second season.
Yeah, I mean, Squid Game was really as much as we Squid Game's like as much as we meme it. Squid Game was a very good show, and they set it up for they set it up for a lot of they could tell a lot of different stories with the way they have it set up right now.
A couple different directions.
So yeah, I'm excited to see more of the the Squid Game world.
This time it's
Octopus Party.
Octopus Trial.
Octopus Trials.
How much you want to bet that like Netflix will force them to make the second season take place in America so they can have everyone speaking English?
Well, I think the rich evil bad guys from the end were I mean, they all spoke English. I think the implication is that they're from America. So I could see them, like, they have it set up that they could bridge it that way if they wanted to.
Netflix is 100% pondering the idea of, let's just make a million different Squid Games in a million different areas and just do that forever.
Yeah. I mean, that could... I don't know. With the way that they set it up, with like the different cliffhangers that they left us on, I don't think we'll see that, at least not yet. There's too many loose ends that they have to tie up with the story they already told.
Yeah. Which is obviously what the creator wants to do.
Yeah. He left it open-ended for a reason. Because I don't think he knew it was going to be this big, but I think he did know he wanted to tell more stories with this world.
I think what'll probably end up happening is he'll get seasons 2, 3, whatever of Squid Game the show.
Yeah.
Will end up being continuation of whatever stories he wants to tell. But
they'll make a new show, Squid Game.
They'll make a million spin-offs. Squid Game America.
Squid Game Red, White, and Blue.
Squid Game Brazil.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll just do Squid Games in every nation on Earth.
Yeah.
And they can just use whatever games are popular in those countries.
Maybe they'll just make it like instead of, because Squid Game is like a Korean children's game.
Well, maybe they have to call it Squid Game something because it's
maybe the American one will be like musical chairs, a Squid Game story.
Squid Game is no longer a game in Korea. It is now a multimedia television show franchise.
Right. Anyway, yeah, I'm fine with more Squid Game. The fact that 2024, that makes sense, especially since they clearly weren't planning on it. And I imagine they have a lot of production work to do because the budget for the next season is going to be so much bigger than it was this time.
Will it still be relevant when it comes out?
Yeah, not that not that it was like a cheap show, but like the sets were clearly limited in scope.
It was like 20-some million.
Yeah, like the show, but that was because like that's the budget they were given. Like they did a fantastic job with it. Like the set design was incredible.
I'm not saying the show's cheap.
I'm saying they just didn't have a lot of. They weren't given a lot of money. Yeah. But so the next,
it'll have much more CGI this time. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, so that's gonna be all cool. Yeah, more Squid Game. That's fine.
This time he has a CGI
Witcher,
sidekick.
Season 3 begins filming.
Another Netflix franchise.
So I don't know why this wasn't.
Did you ever watch season 2?
I did watch season 2.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was more of season 1.
Is it following the plot of the games or the books, or is it doing its own thing?
So, well, the games follow the plot of the books, more or less, for the most part. Save for a few things that are changed just to make the game make sense. But the story, I feel like it was a lot more, it was a lot better, it was put together a lot better in season 2. Like it was a lot easier to follow from episode to episode what's happening. My biggest problem with season 1 is there were so many flashbacks and so many flash forwards that it was kind of hard to tell where you were in the story going from episode to episode. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the show, you have a pretty decent idea of what's going on and what the main story is.
Still doing that in season 2?
But in season 2, they're just telling it is just a straightforward continuation from where we left off in season 1, which is nice because that was my biggest problem.
They're not doing it Arrow style?
They're not doing it Arrow style.
Where they're doing a 23-episode story arc with 2 different story arcs.
I still have a fairly big problem with what is the Triss the main? No, Triss Marigold's like the side. Oh, what's the main girl's name? The main witch girl who's like his main love interest.
He's training or whatever.
No, that's Ciri. She's fine. I like her character arc fine. His love interest. Okay. Her character arc it's just kind of stupid. It's kind of dumb. Her whole backstory is she was super ugly, right? Mm-hmm. And then she traded her womb for like beauty and power. Like that's how she got her witch powers. That's just how the world of the Witcher works, right? It's how Black.
What are you gonna do with that?
And then on one of her missions, she like had to protect a baby, and she failed, and the baby died, right? And so she's like, well, now that this baby died, now I want to have babies, but I can't now because I
sold my womb
for my face. So now she wants to go and find a way to restore her womb and make babies. That's her character arc.
Why would you trade those things?
And like this, like
I will give you infinite magic power for your left toe.
That whole setup for like how all that happens within the course of like 4 episodes.
Yeah,
like her going from ugly to a witch to wanting to have babies again happens within like 4 episodes, and you're just like, wow, you just have no idea what you want to do. And like
instant regret.
It's not like she didn't know that's what was going to happen. Like the creepy evil guy who does the thing to give you your powers was like, I'm going to take this and it's going to suck, but you're going to have magic powers. She's like, do it. And then like a day later, she's like, well, that was a
I
bad
did that
idea.
thing.
Dang it! Why did I do that one thing? But
baby.
yeah, it was just kind of they flip flopped a little too fast. Like I would have been fine with that if they just spent a little bit more time.
Kind of
with there needed to be more of a transition between her being happy with her decision and then her coming to regret it. It was just like
otherwise
she
it
made
just
a
looks like
decision,
your character is dumb.
Instead of her character making a decision, being happy with it, and then learning to regret it, she makes a decision and then just immediately regrets it right after.
It's like,
and
if your
there's no transition.
it's like if your character's arc is like he agrees to buy a house and then the day
immediately
after
doesn't want the
he
house
doesn't
anymore.
like it, and then so he tries to sell the house, and that's his arc.
I bought the skinny bar.
It just looks like your character has like no forethought.
Yeah, it makes your character seem short-sighted and kind of stupid.
I bought this
But
computer.
other than that,
I don't want it.
I like the character of Geralt. He's done very well.
Another Henry Cavill Netflix character.
I like his relationship with Ciri. I feel like their sort of father-daughter relationship thing is very.
A lot of that happening and stuff.
There's been a lot of that, but I mean that's what the books were about. Like this isn't.
Yeah.
This is the story that it's
They're
meant
not
to
changing
be.
it. It's the same
It's
thing.
not like Halo where they're turning it into that.
Is that what Halo's
I
doing?
think I don't know.
No.
I didn't see it.
According to Paramount Plus, it's like the most watched TV premiere of all time.
And we watch every show, and we haven't seen it.
No one's seen it.
But yeah,
Who's watching the Halo show?
no one is, and everyone that had
Do you even know anyone who has
So this is
Paramount
a slight
Plus?
side tangent from The Witcher. I will get back to The Witcher, but I was on my Xbox 2 days ago, and I looked in the App Store, and like they obviously Paramount Plus is big in the App Store right now because the
they're
Halo
trying to get
shows
you to
out.
watch the Halo show.
I go and I click reviews. Every single review, including the 5-star ones, are all like worst streaming service, unusable. The Halo show sucks. Everything about this app is a waste of money. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Every single review. I didn't see a single positive one. But anyway, that's just a side thing. Where was I? I like Ciri's character a lot. I feel like her character is the strongest out of all the ones in the show. Because her story is, I know you haven't seen it, so I'll give you a brief explanation. She was like the princess of the kingdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was invaded. Her mother and father were killed.
Mm-hmm.
Part of when Ciri was born, part of the deal that. Okay, I got to go back a little bit. Ciri's mom, the queen, right, was in love with this like gross-looking hedgehog man. And anyway, the old king and queen tried to kill the hedgehog man because they didn't want her daughter marrying the ugly hedgehog man, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
as you would do.
Geralt saved him, and then they made this deal where, like, well, in exchange for saving you, what do you want? And he goes, I don't know. I'll just take. There's a word for it in the world. It's like I'll take a surprise or something like that. Basically, it means like he'll just take whatever the next thing they get is, and then like immediately after he says that, she realizes she's pregnant. And then so he gets the daughter. He doesn't want the daughter. They don't want to give him the daughter. So like, okay, cool. We'll go our separate ways. We're all good. We don't got to do anything. But no, fate's got to intervene because apparently just claiming.
So she said whatever the next thing is that isn't a kid.
Yeah, no, because
or just go money.
But
I'll
now
take money.
Now whether they want them to be or not, they're tied together by fate or whatever. Because that's how this world works. Like words in this world are very powerful.
Dad.
Like all the magic in this world is derived from like words. Words
He's
are very
got
powerful.
a Last of Us, this kid.
Yeah, so now her kingdom gets invaded because obviously their promise wasn't kept, so their kingdom gets destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Ciri realizes she has like super powerful reality altering and destroying abilities because she has like elder blood or something. That's something they haven't really touched on as much yet.
It's always magic blood.
Anyway, so now the Witcher's
always magic blood?
Anyway, now the Witcher's got to protect this little girl, and then the crux of season 2 is mainly them going around doing adventures.
Ellie
stuff like
from
that.
Last of Us has magic blood. Baby Yoda has magic blood. My name is always magic blood.
I don't know. That does seem.
Does Kratos' boy have magic blood?
Dang, Kratos' kid also.
Everyone's got magic
blood. It's
no,
Kratos' kid, so I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
Kratos
he
Kratos
has
have magic blood.
Yeah.
he has like half giant blood because his mom
I'm telling you.
was
Kratos
like
banged a giant.
No. His mom was like part giant, but she took like human form. I don't know. She was like a giant. She took like human form. He banged a giant after he killed his old wife and daughter, and then she died of unknown disease. She died
of plot
cancer.
disease.
She died of plot cancer, and then
Kratos gave her an STD.
I mean, after all the like harpies and things he's had sex with,
he's killed so many people. He's got so much blood in his system.
I am a...
No, because like in this, in the old games, he has sex with like prostitutes and things all the time. So it would make sense that he's picked up a couple bugs along the way.
In the first 20 minutes of the first game.
Anyways, moving. It's a quick time event.
Yeah, it just pans to a candle.
Press X to thrust harder.
Sam, let's talk.
This is the future of gaming, ladies and gentlemen.
Sam, speaking of content that's not family friendly, Disney has uploaded an edited version of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that removed blood and certain violent scenes. They did it accidentally, as they are testing a new parental control option.
They did it accidentally.
They're testing it as a new parental control option that would apparently alter Disney Plus original series to make them more suitable for younger viewers.
You click on it, it just pans over, and it's just
okay.
So
Sebastian
there's
Stan.
a couple scenes in Falcon and the Winter Soldier where like a guy like falls off a building and you see blood. He like throws a pipe at a guy and it impales him.
At the end where the Winter Soldier's like beating on his face and like it's all bloody.
Okay,
and stuff.
so maybe.
So what they did is they would make it so like there's no blood when the guy falls off the building.
They CGI the blood and stuff.
The pole that Winter Soldier throws at the guy just bounces off him and hits like a thing next to him. It just bounces off him as things do.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but like, okay,
they didn't edit the John Walker scene, but what they probably would have done is just edited the blood off the shield. And so he just hit him real hard.
Yeah.
In the head.
I can't wait for people to show like their kid Punisher, or something, because they think it's a Marvel show.
They're never gonna do that.
No, because it's already on.
So I
Disney
feel
Plus.
like this could either go fairly well or I don't want them censoring every show.
No,
but if we have the option to choose, I feel like that's fine.
Because what they have right now is when they introduced the Marvel Netflix stuff, which is all TVMA, right? They made it so you can either allow a profile for 18 and older content or not. I think what they would do is the one that's not. If you're watching WandaVision and a character gets thrown into a building and there's like blood on it, you just edit the blood out, so you get the bloodless version of all your stuff.
I think they should make it so.
I feel
and
like
then you have pro blood, no blood. It's like the Mortal Kombat SNES Genesis thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's fine as long as the audience has a choice and there's
They're
not just censoring everything. I don't want them to go back
and just like edit the blood out of
I hate it when they go back and make stuff more like family friendly or whatever, because that's clearly not what it was intent. That ruins the intention of the original piece.
Although it is dumb when people complain when the show is like not rated R. It's like not gonna be rated.
Yeah, but it'll also appease the Karens who their kid accidentally watched.
Who don't know how parental controls work or how the rating system
Daredevil.
that's existed for like 80 years now, or how that works at all. It has a superhero on it. What do you mean he can't watch Deadpool 2?
Like I'm perfectly okay with this system as long as they don't make it the only version we can watch.
I thought this was like the old Superman cartoon.
Because I don't want to have to go back and buy all my movies on physical media just so I can preserve the original.
I think they should make it an option so when you click on the show.
Yeah, I think having the option is fine.
I'm not finished. It takes you to another show and it's just all the actors in the show, and they just put
No, here's a good alternative. There's the real show, and then there's the Muppets version. And if you
just a Muppet reenaction of the show.
Reenactment of the entire show. So if you want Daredevil or you want Muppets Daredevil, and Muppets Daredevil is perfectly kid friendly.
Oh no, Miss Piggy, you broke the multiverse.
It's just perfect. Yeah, that's how you get around it.
Yeah.
And then you can not only have a kid friendly version. Now you're exercising IP. And
if you say you want the kid-friendly version, it just plays the Weenie Hut Jr. clip from SpongeBob. Alrighty, is that it for TV news?
I guess. Do you want to talk about the Minions?
Let's talk about the Minions.
No, I don't.
Minions: The Rise of Gru final trailer. For a movie that was supposed to come out 2 years ago.
I don't like the Minions.
All right, next topic.
Take, Sam.
I don't care. I do not care much for the Minions.
I don't care.
I'm sure Japan will be very excited.
It looks fine. I don't care.
It'll be fine. It'll be
like
okay.
A boring cartoon.
I'm glad they put Steve Carell in it.
He's not been doing, I don't think, anything.
I'm glad because like at least there's like a main human character that
it's not all Minions like the last one.
Not all Minions all the time. Now it's just a straight up Despicable Me prequel.
Yeah,
but like it'll make $1 billion
because it's got the Minions.
It doesn't matter what I say.
The Minions are still a branding monster.
Yeah. Who came up with those?
Nothing's.
Was it the guys who wrote Despicable Me 1?
Yeah.
Because if it was them, dude, geniuses.
Like
I still see teachers
I think
and
Baby
adults
Yoda
with, like,
is really
stuff.
the only thing we've seen since the Minions that had even comparable
Baby
like branding
Yoda
power.
But that's also a lot of he had Star Wars power too.
Yeah, which is like it's insane that you have to not only have Star Wars, but then also like a cute baby creature from Star Wars in order to compete with like these little yellow Twinkie dudes from this like kids movie from like 9 years ago.
Michael Keaton was in Minions.
Was he the sidekick dude to the main villain of the last one?
No, that was John Hamm.
Who was Mike?
Who was getting these actors for this dumb nonsense?
Well, Tucker, they have basically infinite money. They're the Minions make $1 billion million. Not even from the box office, but the merch sales are just astronomical. Yeah, I guarantee you each one of us owns a Minion thing of some sort and just doesn't really realize it. I guarantee you we somewhere in this house there's a Minion pencil or there's like a Minion keychain or a Minion something or other in this house somewhere. Because they're a monster. You can't avoid them.
All I want is I'm just waiting for it to come out because I'm 90% sure that's when we're getting our Mario trailer. Is when Minions 2 comes out.
Gosh,
that is the only movie I care about coming out this year.
Minions 2 is the best movie ever created. It's a masterpiece, okay? Better than the Batman, better than Spider-Man.
This has been our impression of Straw Hat Goofy's review of the Minions movie.
I got invited to the premiere, but that does not affect my opinion at all.
All right.
They may have paid me $1 million.
This expensive suit, but that will not affect my opinion on this
I think we're all good on the Minions. What's next? Bruce.
This next thing is kind of sad.
Yeah. Bruce Willis, the star of Die Hard and all the other Die Hard movies and all the other movies that are basically Die Hard with a slightly different name. He's also in Sixth Sense.
Pulp Fiction.
He announces that he is retiring from acting, citing health concerns. Primarily, his recent diagnosis with, I believe it's aphasia.
Yeah, aphasia.
Aphasia, which has various neurological impacts.
Yeah, it's it affects your understanding of language, like your ability to understand it.
Yeah,
and also to speak it. So it pretty much messes up your entire ability to communicate.
Yeah, which is really sad.
That is really sad. Apparently, it's been like a known secret.
This has been an issue he's had to deal with for quite some time.
The reason he was doing all those terrible direct to Walmart DVD,
like
action things, is because he was just trying to make some money for his kids before he retired. He also has had an earpiece where they had to read him lines because he couldn't remember them. But this is really sad, and he for all the crap he gets for not caring, obviously this is probably a major effect on that.
Yeah, I mean he's a beloved actor.
And he has done a lot of good stuff. So I think
he's one of those actors where I don't think anyone particularly like hates him for anything.
No.
Like he seems like a very chill guy.
I don't think he'll be remembered for any of. He'll only be remembered.
He'll
for
be remembered
really
for
stuff.
his goods. He'll be remembered for his best roles. He's not going to be remembered for that stuff.
He's only in his like early 60s, which is really sad too that he has to retire.
For an actor, that's a fairly young age to retire.
Yeah. So not anything bright about this.
Shout out to
wishes to his family.
Yeah, well wishes to his family. Obviously, thoughts and prayers with him in his medical journey. Anyways,
now
moving
we go
on,
back to the dumb nonsense.
Now back to the dumb news.
Robert Rodriguez will write, direct, and produce a reboot of Spy Kids for Netflix.
Oh, good.
Remember Spy Kids?
This was inevitable. Honestly,
they already did this.
Honestly,
they did a cartoon on Netflix for a while.
Yeah, that does not count. Let's not pretend like that counts.
Joel McHale was in the fourth.
In my opinion, this was inevitable. This was always gonna happen.
Yeah, he did that.
There was the soft reboot with the fourth movie.
Yeah,
which didn't pan out well.
And then he did the Shark Boy and Lava Girl sequel for Netflix.
The sort of sequel, yeah.
Spin-off
thing,
whatever that was. But
yeah, I came to a
it makes complete sense.
I came to a rather surprising realization a few days ago.
What's that, Sam?
That our movie that we made is basically just a Robert Rodriguez movie, but like if he made a spy movie or like a detective movie.
No, it isn't.
It kind of is.
How is that?
Like in both like the sort of meta ironic tone that everything has.
Is it?
And then sort of the cheap
Spy Kids like that.
It definitely is. That's like the whole bit of the movies.
Just really dumb?
It's definitely both. But like you could say the same thing about our movie. Is it meta commentary or are we just stupid? No one knows.
Well, I'll take option B.
But like, especially in also like you know the story of his first movie, right? Where he like shot it in like the cheapest way possible, just because he wanted to. Didn't he like sell his kidney or something for the funding or something like that? No, he sold his body to like medical research for $7,000 like when he dies, and used that to fund his first movie. Like, I feel like our sort of filmmaking technique is very similar.
He also made that movie that's like being kept in like a bunker and won't be released for like 150 years or something.
He's a strange man. He does a lot of strange things.
But Sam, Spy Kids.
Yes. Anyway, back to Spy Kids. This was inevitable.
I've seen all of these.
I think just the Spy Kids name, not even so much the movies themselves, but just the name has a lot of power behind it. Like you say Spy Kids, even if you've never seen the movie,
you've heard of it.
You instantly understand what the deal is.
Yeah.
Like, they're kids who are spies who do the missions adults can't. It's very simple. It's very basic.
Remember the villain of the first one was Big Thumb Guys?
No, the villain was the evil kids TV show host.
Yeah, but he
had thumb robots.
No, they were thumb people.
No, they were robots.
They weren't robots because his plan was to turn people into
No,
big
he was
thumbs.
turning people into the oogie blobby monster dudes with the clay thing.
What?
Yeah, the thumb dudes were all robots.
I remember
because they reprogrammed them in the second one, and they were like their assistants in the second one.
I remember the first one was Thumb Guys.
The
second one was Island of Bug Thing. Third one was Video Game. 4 was Time Travel.
Because remember, he kidnaps their parents, and he has other spies. He has other spies in the cage, and he takes that like blob of clay, and he like mushes it around. And then whatever he mushes it into, it turns them into a monster that looks like that, and they can only talk backwards. Whereas the thumb creatures were just robots that he had made to like assist him, except for they were like really, really dumb because they're thumb robots and they can't do anything.
First Spy Kids was made in production $35 million, $147 million. Produced by the Weinsteins. That's how that went. They made 3 in a row, one every year until they took like a 8-year break, and then they made Spy Kids 4.
Yeah, the second one
which was in 4D.
The second one is the best one, and it's none of them are that good, but the second one is clearly the best one. And then there's that one line. Do you know the line I'm talking about?
What?
In the second one, that's just
wait. Mm-hmm. Ricky Gervais was in Spy Kids 4.
Yeah. So
why would he?
But like, so Spy Kids 2 is, in my opinion, the best one. None of them are particularly good, but Spy Kids 2 is clearly the only one that is like.
That's the one with
The Island with Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi in it.
Yeah, and
that's the only fun.
You know the line I'm talking about that he says when they first find him.
It's the meme.
Yeah, it's the one where it just like needlessly throws like an actually complex philosophical topic into the movie.
Yeah.
Where he says like, because like he's created all these monsters, and they've populated this island. And he's like living underground in like a bunker, and then just like for no like seemingly unprompted, he looks into the camera, takes his glasses off, and he's like, "You think God stays in heaven because he too is afraid of what he's created?" And then everyone's just like, "What?" And then the characters in the movie don't even address it. They're just like, "Huh, maybe." Anyway, bye.
Back to bugs.
Back to fighting the bug monsters.
Oh, Steve Buscemi.
What a guy. I hope he comes back. I want to see more of him in Spy Kids. Bring him back.
Anyway, let's get out of Spy Kids.
Enough Spy Kids.
Sam, talk about Daisy Ridley being on Instagram.
So Daisy Ridley returns to social media after leaving in 2016. I don't think I need to explain why she left.
For the dumbest possible reasons.
I feel like if you're familiar...
Not for her doing it, but the circumstances of why.
Yeah, I feel like if you're familiar with the Star Wars fan base, as well as their reception to... Okay, this is the most frustrating thing. Episode 7 was like not even bad. It was fine. Like, I don't know why they bullied her so much for this.
That was the start of the whole Mary Sue thing.
This was right. Oh yeah, because
that's why she got bullied.
Yeah, there was a lot of culture.
Because people don't understand that actors and characters in movies aren't the same people. Yeah. And that actors don't write their characters.
And there was a lot of culture war stuff going on. This is when all the culture war stuff was really starting.
Yeah.
Around 2016 is when
especially in
Big Donnie J was elected.
Big Donnie J.
There was a lot of culture war going on. A lot of like sort of hostility towards particularly women in movies.
The Ghostbusters 2016 movie was coming out.
Yeah, so
it was the worst time to be.
It was the worst time to be a fan of movies, especially if you like movies with women in them.
Or if you don't.
Apparently. But yeah, they
either way,
they bullied the ever-living crap out of her
for no reason.
Her performance in Star Wars is
she is good in those movies.
She is one of the few redeeming qualities about those movies. All of
the actors in the sequels are
good. It's purely the storytelling that is at fault.
It's purely the writing that lets them down every single time.
But yeah, so she was bullied off Instagram and everything everywhere else because they just were so brutally hostile towards her for no reason. But
yeah.
I guess it's far enough in the cultural memory now that she has returned,
and also we're far enough away from those movies.
Yeah,
where that is no longer like the main point of discussion.
So she's back on social
media. If you're
gonna
leave, you can't come back and do.
We're talking about Daisy Ridley on Star Wars, or like on social media coming back. So she's back now, and from what I've been able to see from her, like the comments on her posts and stuff, everything seems to be fairly positive. So I feel like we've sort of moved on from. I feel like it's been long enough since those movies came out that we've kind of moved on from that. I hope.
Until they make follow-ups, and then we'll be back in it.
And then she'll delete her Instagram again.
Right.
So yeah.
Right, Skywalker.
Okay. Glad to see that she's back, though. That's
Warner Brothers and DC executives held an emergency meeting to discuss Ezra Miller's role in future projects after his arrest and repeated pattern of violent behavior in public towards random people.
Also, frequent mental breakdowns.
And we'll get to that. And agreed to a short-term pause on all of his DC and Warner Brothers Studios projects. It also came out in a report from Rolling Stone that he was having frequent meltdowns on set on The Flash, but he didn't suffer any violent outbursts on set. But was reportedly quote unquote losing it, according to the crew.
Like he would have like basically panic attacks like repeatedly all the time.
This makes complete sense. Obviously he is not just the Flash, but he's also in the Fantastic Beasts stuff. He's a main character in those. They're working on 2 more of those, and
with as far as I know, he was in.
And he was supposed to be the Flash in whatever their Justice League project is right now.
All their new DC stuff.
Yeah, he was supposed to pop up in other stuff.
They need to just get rid of this universe.
If they're gonna recast him in Fantastic Beasts, that's fine. They've already recast Johnny Depp in those.
That franchise is not new to being recasting major characters.
Yeah, so if they're gonna recast him, no one's gonna care.
I do feel kind of bad for him because, like, clearly he's struggling here. Like, this isn't like, but not so much with him beating up old ladies. Like, that's on him. Like, dude, what the heck? But like with him, like having sort of like panic attacks and stuff on set. Like, clearly he's
either way.
He's going through some stuff.
The studio needs to go. You need to go get help. We'll do this while you're getting help.
Yeah, you go do therapy. We're gonna make some more Flash stuff. Okay, cool.
And many were upset that a similar punishment was not delivered to Amber Heard after everything that's going on with her and Johnny Depp.
I feel like his pause though has more to do with his breakdowns on set and less to do with him being continuing to a continued pattern of violence outside of the studio.
I think it's equally same thing, because your lead actor getting arrested in the middle of a press tour is not a good look.
Yeah,
I like how
this is bear in mind, this is not the first time he's violently attacked someone.
No, randomly for no reason.
Like how he's violently attacked multiple people and he's still in a bunch of stuff. And Will Smith slapped.
Well, let's not talk about it. I don't even want to bring up the Will Smith thing.
No, but I'm saying because he lost like a bunch of stuff.
This is what I was talking about. This is what should happen.
Yeah, many people were suggesting that Grant Gustin take over the Flash role in the DC film stuff.
That's fine. He's a good Flash. That shows just has terrible writing.
It's a terrible show, but he's fine.
Like in the first couple seasons, he was a phenomenal Flash. He can be a great Flash. The writing just sucks.
The thing for that whole cast of that show is whenever that you can tell they actually are invested in having fun, they're all a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think if he was to do the role in the movies, I think you would see a lot more of that like positive attitude, because he wouldn't be shooting a terrible show 8 months of the year. He'd be shooting one movie every couple of years.
Yeah. I feel like Grant Gustin could be a great... I don't know why he wasn't the Flash to begin with.
In the movies?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they just didn't want to confuse the universe.
Ezra Miller was cast before that show went on the air.
Yeah.
In his solo movie, is going to come out before its 9th season.
Cool. Good choice, guys. All right. Anyway, on to Chris Pratt officially signs on the animated Garfield film from Chicken Little director Mark Dindal.
He's going to voice Garfield.
Dindal. All right.
He's going to voice Garfield.
So Chris, wasn't this
This
already
was
announced?
news, but this is official now.
So now it's official.
He's officially going to do it.
So it was a joke before, now it's real.
No, it was in the works. But
now
he's
it's really
officially
happening.
doing it.
Cool.
Sam.
Chris Pratt is Garfield, everyone.
And he's Mario.
And Mario and himself. And also Emmett and a lot of other things.
Yep.
Cool. That's great. Glad
Sam, I know you're going to love this
it.
next piece of news.
Ooh, let's go. Oh, do you want me to read it or are you going to
Yes.
read it? Okay. Craig Gillespie signs to direct The Anti-Social Network for MGM about the stock market chaos following the GameStop Reddit incident. What?
The GameStop.
Why is it called The Anti-Social Network?
Because the social network is a thing you remember.
But like this was
They're not related, but you remember them.
like the movement was a net positive versus at least the way that I understand. Not for the rich people who are making this movie, but for like the everyday man.
Sam,
it was a fairly positive event.
From whose perspective would the studio view this incident?
Well, they're going to do their darn diddly darndest to make sure that we view it as a negative thing because they don't want us messing with their stock shorts anymore. But
Sam, don't you love that one minor event happens and then instantly every single movie studio on the planet minds it for
every movie
product.
studio is making movies about this, right?
Because people were involved in it.
Because they don't want us to do it again. They're going to do their best to make that event seem like it was led by no one but dangerous, incel Joker types. They want to frame it that way so that we don't mess with their stocks again. That's why they're doing this.
Or because they're desperate on ideas.
It's not because they're desperate on ideas. It's because they need propaganda because they don't want us to do it again. That's the. I'm not even kidding. That's the real reason why this is happening. We haven't gotten a single movie announcement. Okay, 2020 was the most insane year of all time.
I think
no other event from that year has movies going on about it.
Because it was a major event that many normal people were involved in. And it wasn't a giant, actual tragedy.
Yeah.
Because, you're not going to do the COVID-19 movie. It'd be people dying of a horrible illness.
Well, they've made a couple of
those. Or the Ukraine war movie of people dying of being missiled for no reason.
No, but those will come out eventually. But
eventually. But
Tom Clancy's Ukraine, Russia.
It's not coming out next year.
Yeah. All right, so that's... Yeah, cool.
Warner Media... Okay,
on to business news.
So Warner Media...
Business
executives.
Business.
Okay, you done?
Business.
Okay, so Warner Media, a huge swath of executives left the company as the impending Discovery merger looms over.
Mm-hmm.
The merger is expected to close very soon, as early as Friday of this week.
Makes sense.
So when this comes out, 17 months ago, CEO Jason Kilar, Warner Media Studios and Network CEO Ann Cernoff, HBO Max General Manager Andy Fossel, and a bunch of other people, including the EVP of Communications and Inclusion. They're all leaving the company effective immediately.
And inclusion, those seem like different jobs.
One is a job and one is not.
One of them is a title.
Guess which one it is.
One of them is a title that they give to make themselves seem more woke.
Yeah. Some executives, including Warner Brothers Pictures Group Chairman Toby Emmerich, and Warner Bros. International President Gerard Zeiler and Games President David Haddad.
I thought that Warner Bros. Games was a separate thing.
They were considering selling it off.
Oh, that's right. But it never went through.
But we'll see what happens now that Discovery...
Because they also own NetherRealm Studios, right?
Yeah. So Discovery is essentially going to come in and just plant all of their executives into all these roles. They're essentially going to do a complete takeover of the entire Warner Media.
They're switching
industry.
out the higher ups.
So the only people staying on are the creative people.
Which is
the Warner Bros. Pictures people and the Warner Bros. Games.
Wait, we already talked about games, right?
What do you mean? Yeah, like an hour ago.
Why don't we talk about Skywalker Saga?
Oh yeah, why didn't we talk about that?
No one here's played it yet.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Anyway,
what are you gonna say? It came out.
It came out.
Anyway, Skywalker Saga came out.
No, but
I guess it's like Dark Souls or something.
It's Elden Ring Lego.
Warner Media is planning a complete overhaul of everything they're doing here. Immediate things I would expect in like the coming months.
DC restructuring again.
HBO Max to drop in price. DC's gonna restructure again.
Discovery Plus might. I think they might keep them separate.
No, they've already said they're gonna merge them, and they said it's just a matter of time.
Never mind.
So, when I'm CNN Plus, I'm expecting that to immediately go in the bin.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It's stupid. They launched, and then like 3 days later, they had to lay off like half their employees.
Shocking. Yeah. It's almost like no one wants to buy. Okay, news is the only thing keeping cable alive. News
no, it's not.
And football.
Football is keeping cable alive, and news is on.
Sports and news are keeping cable alive. News does not translate well to streaming because it happens right now. Well, right now is news.
They're all live shows on CNN Plus, and all of their back catalog is stuff that was on HBO Max that they then pulled off of HBO Max.
Live content
on CNN
live
Plus.
Content has never been a major part of streaming.
Especially when your streaming service live show draws are just people who also have live shows on CNN.
Yeah.
But I would expect CNN Plus to fold. I would expect delays of some movies because they're gonna want to reshoot stuff. Maybe even an HBO Max name change. But I would expect that to go through when they merge it with Discovery
yeah, no,
Plus.
that name's garbage. They gotta scrap that.
I am expecting a price drop or some kind of bundle. $15 a month.
Yeah, that's what they'll bundle it.
Also, officially no more day and date stuff ever. That is.
I thought they already said
the main reason they're firing Jason Kilar, who was the CEO,
is because of that.
It's because he did that basically decision he made by himself without telling anyone, and then just did it.
He's like, day and date movies, guys. Buy our thing, please.
And since then, he's come back and he's been like, actually, I think that decision was ahead of its time. And I was like, then why is no one else doing it now?
In his defense, that decision is rational given the circumstances he was in. He didn't know if movie theaters were going to stay open because COVID was going on. He wanted to push his new streaming service. Yeah. Everything seems to be going streaming. Theater audiences have been declining for the last decade. That decision made a lot of sense. But given how things have played out since then, it is clear that that was not the right choice. I don't know that he should be, lampooned as an industry buffoon.
Yeah.
Because that decision made a lot of sense. I mean, if I was in his position, there's a good chance I also would have, made a decision that was, I might not have done, for free day and date. I would have probably done more like what Disney Plus did. But I can understand why that was what he decided to do.
The dumbest part of it was to pledge a full year.
Yeah, the dumbest part was to put a timeline on it.
Well, no, it was just to go, we're going to give you free movies for the entire year, no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah.
Because what ended up happening is that summer and like for most of the fall, we had pretty low COVID numbers, and so everyone could go to the movies. Yeah. But everyone was staying at home.
Obviously,
watching Suicide Squad on their phone.
Yeah. Obviously, he didn't know that was going to happen.
He should have gone, these ones will go, and then we'll see what happens, and then maybe we'll do these ones. He shouldn't have been like, everything's going.
For the whole year, baby.
And the other big part of it was not even the decision itself that was controversial. It was the whole, we have negotiated all of these deals with talent and creators.
And that was just not true.
Partnership studios.
That was just a lie.
No, with back-end deals. And then he just had to start shoveling money towards them to fulfill those contracts that he then basically burned and dumped on the ground.
Yeah, that was really stupid.
The other thing I would expect is some shows that they've announced for HBO Max that haven't started production to actually start, because the main reason they're selling this, the main reason AT&T is selling this off is because they don't have any money. Yeah. And they need money to pay for HBO Max shows. So like that Green Lantern show that still hasn't entered production, all their other DC stuff, they're developing, I think, a Harry Potter thing. All of those might actually start like getting
maybe made
because they'll have money to start making them.
Biggest problem right now is they announce
and they don't make
many
anything.
Projects, and then one of them will get made 7 years later, and the rest of them will never come out.
Remember in like 2017, it was before Justice League came out.
Remember in 2012 when Black Adam was announced, and that movie's coming out in December of 2022.
October, Sam.
10 years later.
No, but like, you remember in like mid 2017 after Wonder Woman was a big hit and Suicide Squad did well, they came out and they were like, we're going to do a Deadshot solo movie, a Harley Quinn solo movie, a Gotham City Sirens movie, a Joker solo movie, a Joker and Harley Quinn solo movie, a Nightwing movie, a Wonder Woman 2, another Superman movie, another Batman movie, another Aquaman movie, another Flash movie, a spin-offs of those. They just announced, literally at one point, they had 20 different DCEU projects in development, and then Justice League flopped, and then they canceled 18 of them.
They're like, never mind, guys, we're going to make like 3, and you're going to forget about the rest. You hear me? You didn't hear nothing. I don't know nothing about no movies.
Remember at one point, there was 3 different Joker solo projects in the works. There was the Joaquin Phoenix one, the Jared Leto solo, and the Joker and Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah.
And one of them got made.
One of those was made. Arguably, you could say the Joker one was reworked into Harley Quinn.
Which I think is just an example of the current Warner Media staff are just they just like, they're so reactionary. Yeah. They're just like, whatever's cool this minute, just do that.
That's one thing that Marvel has been really good at.
Is planning ahead.
Not only planning ahead, but when they misstep, they usually just go through. They just keep going.
Yeah.
Like Thor: The Dark World was so stupid. But they kept everything that they set up in that movie. Went somewhere. Yeah, went somewhere. I mean,
they didn't abandon it.
Yeah, they didn't just leave it at the wayside. Yeah. Like, they didn't stop making... Now, if DC had made it, they would have stopped making Thor movies.
Yeah, no, they would have canceled Thor. Anything that had an Infinity Stone in it, they would have canceled that.
Yeah.
They would have recast Heimdall. They would have just done all these things.
Yeah. Whereas, Marvel and Disney just seem to be more willing to just roll... And like with Star Wars...
Star Wars, they did the same thing.
Well, they backtracked, but they didn't just decide to not make move. Okay, well, they did with the
all of the anthology films they were planning on making.
Well, but even those, they didn't really. They just reworked them into shows. They didn't just destroy them. What happened was
Solo didn't make any money, and so they canceled their Boba Fett movie and their Mos Eisley movie and their Obi-Wan movie.
And then they made all those into shows instead.
They let Jon Favreau make Mandalorian, and then they were like, okay, now we'll just make a million of these.
Yeah.
But DC was like Justice. The reason Marvel has been okay with it is because none of their movies until Eternals actually lost money.
Yeah.
Even if they got negative reviews, they still
made
did okay.
money. Yeah.
That'll be the real test, is whether or not we'll see any Eternals stuff ever happening. But DC, it's like no one saw Birds of Prey. Backtrack. No one saw Justice League. Throw that whole universe timeline out. We're restarting.
Never mind.
Get Zack
Sure,
Snyder
it's our fault that we butchered the cut of the movie. Just ignore that.
Hey guys, everyone likes the Zack Snyder cut. What if we don't do anything with it?
Always right, Sam.
Okay.
Trust the executives.
For years, we heard about this mythical Snyder cut. And for years, I was like, guys, it's just as dumb as the one we got in theaters. There's absolutely no way that the Snyder cut is different enough to make it. Warner Brothers said that it was embarrassing. There is no way it's good. How many years was it down the line we ended up getting it? 4. I'm just going to throw 4 years.
A little less than 4.
I don't know if that's correct. 4 years down the line.
It's actually pretty.
We get a Snyder cut.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's all right.
I could have totally seen them building a cinematic universe around that anchor of a film.
Yep.
But they decided to do the stupid thing. And not only did they decide to do the stupid thing, but they had been telling us for years that what they did was the smart choice. When it's so blatantly obvious that not only is it their fault, but that was the dumb choice. So
CGI mustache removal.
The moral of the story is don't ever believe companies about anything because they don't care about you and they're stupid.
And
they're run by morons.
They'll also just
corporations
abandon it and just decide something
They don't
else.
care about you or the things you like. So this merger is closing very soon. I'm not going to read off all these names, but I'll read off their titles. The CEO of Warner Media, the CEO of the network, the CEO of HBO Max, the CFO, the EVP, the EVP of the other, a lot of EVPs.
The whole team,
the whole executive council, as far as I'm aware, is departing the company effective immediately.
What matters is that the executives leading the actual motion pictures division and the games division and the international division are all staying on.
Yeah.
Which means I think what might end up really losing here is WB Games. I think there is probably a very good chance they get sold off, mostly because
I can see them getting sold off, but I don't. Even if they do get sold off, I don't think that'll affect them that much.
I don't think Discovery knows what to do with them. because the Discovery is not a video game company.
But see,
they're not going to know what.
I don't think Warner Brothers really has that much of a say, other than giving them the licenses to stuff. I think they pretty much manage their own stuff.
Well, they own the studio.
Yeah, they own the studio, but I think for them, like, how much did the studio dictate about Mortal Kombat? Like the game? I'm
not saying that.
Probably not much. Like, I feel like they sort of run their own stuff kind of by themselves.
I'm saying Discovery might come in and go, we don't need this for what we're doing. Let's just cut it off and sell it to Xbox.
What I'm worried they'll do is they'll just shut it down.
Yeah, like, which would be the worst thing.
Yeah, because I don't even know. That doesn't even make sense. Because they still make a lot of money. Like, Mortal Kombat makes a ton of money.
If they keep them around, the main reason will be to obtain the IPs that they have. Mostly to retain the Mortal Kombat IP. Because that has a lot of film merchandising
Let's be honest. Warner Brothers games makes two things. Mortal Kombat and Batman
whatever
Arkham,
DC's
whatever
making,
game. Yeah. Like, they don't make anything else.
And the Lego games. That's them.
Well, but they only make the Lego Batman games.
They own... Well, no, they own...
They don't make the Star Wars games.
I think they might own Traveler's Tales. Mix those. Because they're on all of those.
Did they buy... Because I thought Traveler's Tales was owned by LucasArts, which was then shut down.
I think they're owned by WB Games.
That's very weird.
Because,
maybe
Warner Brothers Games produced Lego Star Wars. Weird.
Yeah, okay, maybe
mostly because Disney got rid of their games development studio because they're run by morons.
Because they're also just as stupid as the Warner Brothers people.
There's no money in video games.
What is this? Video game? You silly goof.
They don't need those. They want more Mickey cartoons.
Network television is where it's at.
You goofy moron. What a buffoon you are. Money in video games? Oh, what?
Preposterous.
Preposterous. Jeeves, what is this? A video game? Throw it to the poor. Like, no, that's stupid.
That's mostly
you are so dumb.
Gosh.
I honestly think of all the decisions Disney has made in the last decade, that was the single. That one lost them more money than any other decision.
It literally lost the potential tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah, billions of dollars they lost on that.
The 90-year-old people who run all of the Hollywood industries. Their interpretation of video games is still Pong.
Yeah.
Like, when they think video game, their interpretation is Pong and Pac-Man.
Some of them have gotten to Mario Bros. A couple of them have made it all the way from the Atari Jaguar to the NES. None of them have gotten past that yet.
None of them know that video games make 3 times the money that the movie industry makes.
And if you want proof of that, the Halo show is an excellent example. A god-tier example of them absolutely having no clue what a video game is. In the marketing for them making the show, they were like, "Ugh, the game? What? Disgusting. I didn't even look at the game." Because they said that they took very little inspiration from the game and focused mainly on the books.
There's no books.
There's so many books.
Halo?
Most of the Halo lore is from the book series, but
there's no books in Halo.
There's dozens of books, Tucker.
I'm looking this up. I don't think.
But that they don't, because they don't understand that the audience for Halo mostly cares about the game. The lore is that is the biggest problem with all gaming
Halo
stuff.
Halo is a video game. It's not a book.
Look up Halo.
There are books, but those are like...
That's what I'm saying. They took more inspiration from the books than the game. The game came first. The books are subsidiary. They focused more on the books than the game.
They
made the wrong
Halo
choice.
Novels.
Yeah, there's dozens of them. That's what I just told you.
Dude,
what was
look, there's a new Halo show.
Yeah, it's very clear that they have very little respect for the games and do not understand what it is that makes games popular. Games,
just generally that's the case. With
games.
Every video game.
This is why so many studios struggle to adapt video games, is because so much of the game is the gameplay. Like, so many of the fans of a game come for the gameplay, and the lore is sort of a side thing. Whereas when you adapt it to a movie or a show, you have to focus on the lore. That has to become the main thing. So there's a lot lost in that transition. Now, it can be done well. I don't think Sonic is really the only example.
Detective Pikachu is pretty good.
Detective Pikachu was also pretty good.
The Tomb Raider movie was okay.
The Tomb Raider movie is very underrated as a video game adaptation.
No one talks about it. But it's
as an adaptation, it is very underrated.
Mostly because it's just a very straightforward adaptation.
Yeah.
But
look, dude, there's a new Halo show.
My point is,
these guys don't know how to adapt video games. They don't know why people like video games.
95-year-old white guys who have been working in Hollywood for 70 years. They don't know what video games are.
They do not. They do not play them. They have kids that play Fortnite.
No, they have like great grandchildren.
They have great grandchildren that play Fortnite, and that's why they give their IPs to Fortnite only.
Like the kids are playing Fortnite. Let them use Batman.
Yeah,
I was there when Batman was created in the 1930s.
Wow, a new Halo show. This must be a bunch of action and fighting. 20 years ago.
Oh wait, no, it's just
aliens
episode
and
1, and Master Chief's also there. Oh, that's fun.
Took his helmet off. That was the big controversy.
When they had controversy.
Yeah, because that's his whole thing is he doesn't. Okay.
No, and
okay, I don't know why people.
But the Mandalorian proved you don't need to for the show to work.
Yeah, that is true.
And the reason was you can't have a show where the guy wears a bucket on his head the whole time. And I'm like,
actually, the most popular show
the show you're currently ripping off
did that. The show that you are knocking off currently and is a better version of your show is actually doing that right now. All right. Anyway, moving on from the Halo show and people being dumb and not knowing how to manage companies and adaptations.
Named Halo.
Movie and TV reviews.
Mr. Halo.
Moon and Knight, my favorite Marvel character.
Sam, you watched episode 1. You didn't watch episode 2.
I forgot. Didn't realize it came out.
About it.
Yeah, let's not talk
Basically,
about it.
spoilers.
I saw a picture on Twitter of Mr. Knight, so I'm assuming he's going to be
episode 1. I really, really like the first episode.
I think this is the best first Marvel show episode.
People complained that they skipped the action scenes.
WandaVision was interesting, but it was boring.
The first episode is the worst episode.
Yeah. The Loki show was interesting, but it was kind of boring.
Well, not the first. The first episode's fine.
Yeah, but like nothing really happened. He just sort of registered for the company. Like that was basically it.
I think
Loki Soldier was whatever.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier was fine, but I feel like this is the only one that was actually on another level.
Was there another one? Hawkeye was the other one.
The fact that I forgot Hawkeye was even a thing should tell how much I cared about the first episode of Hawkeye.
Moon Knight. Moon Knight feels like a Marvel movie instead of a Marvel show.
Yeah,
because all the other shows feel like this happens next episode. This is a continuation of the boring thing that happened last episode.
Yeah,
this is like whoa.
I was very like when he's like, sort of jumping around and doesn't really understand what's going on. He's got the voice. They introduced so many cool, interesting things in the first episode, and then they're like, all right. That's all you get. You gotta come back now. And you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta come back now.
I love the writing and the direction in the first episode, and the direction in the second episode are both very, very strong. The first episode, I love that it moves so quickly, yet it never feels like it's going too fast. It just because I love that
because you're seeing everything from the perspective
of a character who has no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
and so it does help when they just throw you into stuff. And so you really do get immersed in the show,
and you're just as confused as he is.
Yeah, because it just keeps moving, and then it just like cuts, and then you're moving on to the next episode. Max said it was right, where this does feel like where WandaVision felt like
a show.
It was an episode, and then there was a cliffhanger, and you had to come back next week. This one does feel like they just took a movie and they just cut it into 6 parts, and when the next episode ends, it just feels like if it was a movie, they would next shot would just be the first shot of the next episode. Couple things I really, really like. Oscar Isaac.
Careful with pulling the cable with your foot. You just really bent that USB-C port.
It'll be okay. Oscar Isaac is really, 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 really good.
Yeah, he's great.
In the first episode, you don't see it a lot. In the second episode, it's in it more. But I love the design of the suit and the way it moves.
Oh, the suit always looked sick.
And it goes.
Yeah.
I love that Ethan Hawke plays a character with a horrible wig. And he's got a cane.
Yeah, the bad guy who's got the thing,
Mm-hmm. I love Khonshu, who is my favorite part of this whole show.
Yeah, I've only seen him in that like couple scenes in the first
in the second episode, the best part of the show quickly just turns into Khonshu interacting with whichever
personality he
is, whatever. Yeah. Because he's just like this weird giant
ethereal monster,
bird face bone man with a big stick.
Because he just stands in the background and he just goes, Steven,
he's just
do
like
the thing.
He's like, do this, and then he's like, what's going on? And it's just like, just kill that guy, kill him.
It's like, what?
And Steven's like,
and that's F. Murray Abraham doing the voice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, which is super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fun show. The second episode's not as strong, but I won't get into that now.
I think the second episode is better than
we'll talk about that more next
week.
Yeah.
But I really love this first episode. It's a great introduction.
There was this tweet from just like some random
Twitter person.
No, it wasn't a person, but it was like the site or whatever.
A check
mark.
And
they were like, guys, the reason he has multiple personalities is because there's multiverse, and it's actually multiple of himself. I'm like, no.
Actually, no. If you knew anything about the character, you know that is the wrong take to have.
No, that is stupid and dumb.
You are a
there
dumb
was also
person
people
for
complaining that the action scenes in the first episode were skipped, which was like,
Welcome
that was the entire point.
To the point of those episodes.
That is
you
a very
moron.
Very creative way to save money on fight scenes.
I think
just cut the fight scene.
Well, I think that's going to be I think we're going to see more fight scenes.
No, there is more fights in the second episode.
No, it was only the first.
I do love that.
That was just that was real. I think that was a great way of hammering home this truly sort of bipolar.
Because it also helps you feel. It also helps feel different than the other Marvel stuff, where it's like story stop to have a big punch, continue the story stop to have a big punch.
It's very much just the story continues, and this guy's just very confused by the fact that big punch is happening.
All of my plot predictions on where this is gonna go tie into the second episode, so we can't really go into that.
We'll talk about that.
But for now, very positive, very good.
Alrighty, on to something not very positive and very bad.
Speaking of the opposite of good.
Speaking of what would happen if you made this the show wrong.
Morbius came out, everybody.
If you were ever thinking, oh man, I love Daredevil 2003. Oh man, I love Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage. Oh boy, do I love the first and worst parts of the Venom movie. Well, then this is the movie you've been waiting for.
Okay, the first Venom felt like a 90s action film from direct to VHS that someone redid with CGI and put out in the modern day.
This is like that, but if it was 2003.
This feels like a 2004 superhero movie that sat on a shelf in someone's basement for 20 years.
And then someone found it
and then someone
yesterday.
just found it and was like, superheroes are cool. Let's put this out.
Yeah, so...
So first off,
Voice Critical was great in it.
It made $39.1 million domestically in its opening weekend.
That's not good. That's not great.
Which was the exact studio expectation. It had a global opening of $84 million on a reported production budget of $75 million.
I believe that, honestly. There's not that much going on.
Other than the...
Depends on how much reshoots they ended up doing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I honestly think that's pretty believable.
Sam, what did you think of Dr. Michael Morbius, the Dracula Man?
So, I think it's weird that he's just Spider-Man with bat powers, because he's not a vampire.
Interesting, elaborate.
He's basically just if a man was bit by a radioactive bat and got all the powers of a bat, except for most of them are made up, much like Spider-Man.
You know what
he's like a Spider-Man, but most of his powers are not spider-related at all.
Before we get into it, my favorite part of this movie is that in a throwaway line, they introduce a core aspect of not only Morbius as a character, but also of the plot, where they go, Michael Morbius here was famous for inventing artificial blood.
Yeah, so
then they just keep going without elaborating.
Michael Morbius, they mentioned one time that he is the savior of the world, and he saved more people than penicillin, and he invented artificial blood, which allows people to basically not need blood transfusions anymore.
Disease?
So the cure for everything. This guy invented the cure for everything.
Every blood disease.
Yeah.
Most diseases.
Pretty much, yeah.
And just writing that off, just throwaway line.
One time they mentioned it.
One time. It works into the plot, but it's it's literally introduced in off a character off screen.
Yeah, it's just a little, and it's fine, but I feel like they could have focused on it a little bit more, just a little bit more. Why is it blue?
Yeah,
why does it look like Kool-Aid?
Why does one character in the movie? Never mind. We'll get to that later.
So yeah, he has plot disease, and in order to cure his plot disease, he
has to. He's Spider-Man villains himself.
Yeah, he's Spider-Man villains himself.
He mixes some animal's DNA with his DNA, and it gives him that animal's powers.
Which he's a Spider-Man villain. That tracks.
Yeah. If you live in Spider-Man's universe and you're a scientist and you are anyway studying animals,
stick animal DNA in you. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
You will become an evil monster with the powers of that animal.
So this guy injected himself with lizard DNA, became a big lizard. This guy put on a big rhino outfit. What's another one? What's another animal Spider-Man villain?
I don't know. There's lots.
There's a lot. Scorpion. Like all of these guys have vague animal-based powers from random injections. I know what I'll do.
Or Vulture, not the
I'll
Falcon.
inject myself with bat DNA.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, so
I spliced my DNA
he very
with
much
guinea
has
pig
like
DNA.
really stupid origin.
Yeah.
But that's fine. He's a Spider-Man
As a
villain.
kid, I was bullied because I was dying of a
so-
horrible disease.
Yeah, so he Spider-Man Batmans himself. He gets all of the sort of kind of powers of a vampire bat, including so he has this disease that basically makes him like super crippled.
It just makes him a crippled man.
Yeah, but in order to like not die, he has to get a blood transfusion 3 times a day.
Every day?
3 times a day, he has to get a blood transfusion.
How does that even work? How do you have enough blood for that? Who's giving you that much blood?
Which, I mean, he does invent artificial blood, so that they kind of solved that plot hole, but he did this like
Why doesn't he just
40 years into his life.
transfuse all the
Presumably
blood?
he was doing this for a while. That's not important.
Yeah.
But in order to maintain his super bat powers, he has to drink blood, which essentially just means his condition is now worse. Because now he has to do more blood transfusion than he was doing before. But I mean, he can walk, which I guess is nice.
And he has abs.
And
Oh, yeah.
he gets
Vampire
abs.
This is actually, not a lot of people know this. Bats actually have a genetic trait of really, really ripped abs. All bats, if you look at them closely, every bat, super jacked.
No, okay, we're just going to do spoilers, because who cares?
Who cares?
It's
There's no
Morbius.
spoilers for Morbius.
But my favorite scene in the movie is he goes on the rampage on the boat, right? He turns into a big uncontrollable monster.
Yeah, and he
kills
drinks
a lot
all
of
the
guys.
blood. Yeah.
And at the end of it, he turns back into Jared Leto.
And like
then-
Aaron Yeager rising from his first Titan.
He gets up, his shirt just falls off. Steam emits from a pipe behind him, and then he's just all sweaty and wet, shirtless with abs. It's just like, oh, it's this movie.
Yeah. So I made a joke to Max because he watched. Oh, we need to talk about that too. But I made a joke to Max because he watches Attack on. It looked like that first scene where Aaron Yeager comes out of the Titan, like steam shoots out, and his like clothes are all ripped up. It's very much similar to that.
Let me just
that kind of stuff.
Very
is
early
so
2000s.
rare nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if in a Marvel movie, like in the next Doctor Strange, there was a scene where he just walked out in like a towel shirtless, and the camera just ogled on his abs for like a solid 25 seconds.
Or like if in Iron Man, he takes the armor off and steam comes shooting out of the armor, and his ripped body comes
all the
walking
time,
out of
and
the
like
suit.
and like older action movies,
This happened all the time.
there was a thing where the character would always just walk around shirtless.
I mean, bat nipples and bat boobs. Should I say more? I feel like that pretty much explains the mindset of the early 2000s superhero movie.
My biggest problem with this movie, I have two main ones. The script sucks. It's terrible. It's a terrible script.
Which, it's Morbius.
And
what did you think was going to happen?
The editing is so bad.
The editing is the worst part of the movie.
The editing is the worst part.
Yeah, Max
collector's cup.
Max spent like $6 on a Morbius
now part
cup
of the
for
set.
some reason. And they ran out of lids for it too, so it doesn't even have a lid.
We need
A new Marvel legend arrives.
Put some shelves up. Yeah.
We can put them more.
Well,
This
I
is
think
going to be a prop, though.
I think the final plan for the studio is to have everything on that side. That's why we put so many outlets over there.
That's true. A new Marvel legend arrives.
Anyways, what was yeah? So
it's not a legend if it's new. You can't just say a thing's a legend.
I made up a new legend, guys.
We've made fun of the marketing plenty.
Look, he's a vampire man.
So yeah, he becomes a vampire, kills some dudes. I did like. This is one thing I actually did like about the movie. I like how he spends time researching his abilities and like actually like studying them a little bit. He's like, how long can I stay in this form? You know, what are the limits of my powers? What can I do? What can't I do? That sort of thing.
I like how his plan is to lock himself in a closet until he dies.
Although the thing was,
he I like how that sort of ties into him being a doctor and very much, following the scientific method, that sort of thing. I feel like that was some good character work there. I thought that was nice.
His powers look cool sometimes.
They just kept giving him more powers as the movie went on. Because, like, in the final fight, he just randomly unlocks the ability to summon like a trillion bats by, like, screaming really loud.
Yeah, his powers are not consistent. But, this is why I compare the movie to Venom so much, is the bad guy, spoiler alert, has the exact same plot disease.
Yes. And just also takes the serum,
and
so they have the same
against
powers.
Dr. Michael Morbius's doctor recommendation, takes the Spider-Man bat juice and turns himself into a super jacked bat Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And
But Morbius is not cool with killing people.
But this guy don't care.
This guy is, because one time when he was a crippled little boy,
he was bullied
he was beat up in the street.
And so now he wants to eat people. So
he's all cool with mass genocide.
So he's justified eating people. That's
his motivation.
Yeah.
Grandma deserves to die.
The motivations of every character in this movie
make no sense.
The main villain...
he wants to cure the disease as a doctor. Like, his motivations I buy. The villain... Number one, just wants to eat people and just wants to make Morbius okay with also eating people.
His evil plan is he just wants to make Morbius just also cool with doing whatever.
Yeah, all he wants, his sole motivation is to get Morbius to also want to eat people's blood. Because that's what he thinks he wants to do.
Yeah, and
he could have just run away and
then once we both become evil, we could do whatever we want.
We can go to the Caribbean islands or something.
Do that.
And go to a bar. Kill a guy,
babe, I guess. I don't know.
We can go to a bar and talk to a lady and then say that we're gonna beat up her boyfriend.
Their old mentor character is has spent his whole life serving Matt Smith.
The kid
for no reason, because he worked at a hospital where Morbius, everyone had that disease. Yeah. And so he only decided to devote his life to one of them.
Guy.
I just imagine that every other kid in that hospital is just dying, and the doctor's just like, "Oh, buddy, how you doing?" And it's like,
yeah, the movie does not.
I like that
sense.
Morbius, when he first arrives, his friend, he's like, "My name is Lucian, whatever face." It's a random comic book character, which means nothing, but you're supposed to be like, "Ooh, I know who that is." No one does. Yeah. But he goes, "Your name is Milo because the last two kids who came here were named Milo and they died."
The first kid, one of them was named Milo.
The other one's
and
Milo.
he just called the other ones Milo.
Dying. Yeah. And then at the end of the movie, and then he calls him that for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And then
does everyone else.
Yeah. And then at the end of that movie, the villain's like, "You gave me my name," and I'm like, "No, he didn't. He just said you had the same name as a couple of dead children." You could have just been like, "No," and you just kept it for the rest of your professional career.
Hey man, you know the kid that was there before? He died.
He died just like him. I'm gonna call you Milo. That's dumb.
Morbius saves his friend.
His girlfriend.
No. He saves at the start. His friend from dying by going to
sticking a spring in his blood transfusion machine.
He opens this blood transfusion machine. And he takes a pen and he sticks a spring into it, which somehow fixes it.
And then the guy's
no. And then the guy calls him into his room.
Their mentor doctor figure.
Yeah. And he's like, a medical school is offering to give you a free education in a big fancy school to become a doctor.
Because you learned how to fix this machine with a pen.
Because someone stuck a spring in the machine. And so they think you're a genius and they're going to let you become a doctor for free.
No, I love the scene where he stuck the spring in because he was like, doctor. And then he was just like, oh.
Never mind. Never mind. No, we're good.
Also, I imagine the doctor guy was just like, "Hey, this kid stuck a spring in a box. He's real smart. You want to
give him a full ride scholarship to Yale?" And they were like, "Yes,
yes,
yes, we do."
100%.
Yeah, but and the start of the movie immediately is when you know the editing's bad, because there's just these terrible cuts. Stuff doesn't line up with dialogue. Everything feels like it was over. It feels
okay.
My favorite part of the whole movie was when Jared Leto and other kid are or kid Jared Leto and kid other kid are in the hospital, and there's just the school kids outside going "Ha ha, they're disabled. I love those. Ha ha, you're disabled." That's it. That's all. They're the same kids that beat up Milo in the later scene.
Yeah,
it's what. Why? It's no one in real life behaves this way. No one goes outside nursing homes and goes ha, you're gonna die.
No, grandma has cancer.
No one does that.
No one goes to the local...
Hollywood, stop pretending this is a thing that it's not a thing.
No one goes to the local children's hospital, just stands outside of it for hours, and just goes, leukemia. That's not a thing anyone has ever done.
Guys, after school, you guys want to go to the St. Jude's and make one of those leukemia kids?
And people do get bullied for having disabilities
or
and
chemotherapy and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's not usually school children just standing outside
outside of the hospital,
yelling at the hospital,
literally for days, potentially months. just doing that every day.
Look,
That's insane.
To make fun of crippled children.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ever do that?
I think that pretty much wraps up Morbius.
No.
How much more do we need to talk about
no,
Morbius?
my favorite.
So,
okay,
the editing is atrocious, and my example of it is there's a scene. Okay, the movie starts with him arriving in the jungle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he gets to the cave, and then we cut to like the logo, and then we do a flashback. And then the flashback is intercut with the present, but you can't tell if the flashback, what it's cutting to the present, is also a flashback that takes place before the jungle scene or after. It turns out it takes place after, but it's still being intercut with flashbacks. And so it's like a jumbled mess. You can't tell where you are in the movie.
No, in the jungle scene just makes no sense. He was just like, these.
No. These are some bats, isn't they?
No, I also love
like later on in the movie, you see he has like a tank of bats.
Yeah, how did he get those?
They never really explain. Are they the same bats?
Why did he get them?
Why was he doing that at all? Why did he go into the jungle and do that?
That's like
Was he captured? Are those the bats that are in the movie later?
I also love
because there's like thousands and thousands of bats at the very end. Did he capture all the bats?
No.
I also love
that's like going, this acid can melt hands. Watch this.
When I was in New York, I don't remember seeing any bats, much less thousands.
Why did he have a tank
in
of
Brazil
bats?
or something? He's in Brazil.
Not when he's in the city. He's not.
No, when he's in the city.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, and he summons all those bats out of the big cave?
Did he put all the bats in that cave?
There's like millions of bats.
Put them all in the city sewers?
And they're just, those bats would all die because they would be forever having to fly.
How is he feeding
them?
They would be
is he feeding them the artificial blood?
No, and they'd be so crammed that they would just die of like horrible like disease and garbage.
How did he get those into a local hospital without anyone
think
noticing?
Too hard about the movie.
Don't question my briefcase.
In that scene,
Morbius, what's that giant tank? It's a fish.
He's just wheeling in
Don't mind me.
like a cartoonishly large like cage of just screeching hungry bats with like a sheet over it. And he's just
one of them
wheeling
flies out and bites the guy. He's like, nope, don't. These are parrots.
And he's like, no, nothing to see here.
He has 3 kids in the trench coat.
No, but in the scene where he gets to the jungle, he's flying in on a helicopter, and he's hired like mercenaries or whatever to get him there
to protect him from the bats. I guess
he gets off the helicopter with his crutches, and then the guy on the helicopter goes like, "Do you need any help?" And he goes, "No, I am a doctor." And I went, "So the guys you hired don't know who you are at all, or what you're doing."
Why would that be the response to what you're? Okay, doctors don't normally go into the middle of the jungle, slit their hands to draw blood to attract armies of bats to put them in tanks and cart them to New York. That's not something doctors inherently do.
No, it's like,
so why would your response do you need help be no?
That's like
I'm a doctor.
That's like a man trying to lift like a piece of heavy furniture, and you're like, "Do you need help?" And he guy's like, "No, I'm an optometrist." And you're like, "How does that apply?"
Sir, you've been shot multiple times. It's okay. I'm a doctor.
I'll be fine.
I'll be all right.
No, but it's like, he's a cripple still.
Yeah,
you're still crippled.
Because they can still help you move the things around.
You cannot lift things on your
That's
own.
all right.
Yeah,
I know what my
You
disease
do
is.
need help, Mr. Morbius.
Yeah, the movie dumb.
I also hate that they didn't just fully commit to the big dumb disco collar that he has in the comics. He should have had a big dumb.
I don't think they were ever going to commit to that.
He should have had it.
Okay.
Okay. My main
move
problem
on.
with this movie was that it's super boring.
Yeah.
It is.
At least, and Jared Leto's not even like hamming it up in here.
No, he's actually pretty good.
He's pretty tame in
He
here.
tried.
Matt Smith is the one hamming it up. But like, at least with Venom, those movies are bad, but the dynamic between Tom Hardy and Venom is still fun. Whenever it's just him and Venom in an apartment just having an argument,
there's a good dynamic.
There's a fun movie there. In this, it's just like nonsense and a CGI man making misty buildings and just kind of floating.
Remember when he uses a counterfeiting lab to like do blood work, and he turns their like camera into a centrifuge, and I'm just like, what?
No.
I also love that there's this team of guys.
Yeah,
with this
the detectives.
apparently millions of dollars of counterfeiting technology in this like basement.
And
they go to a
money
restaurant
looks terrible.
and they try to use it, and the person immediately goes,
Yeah, the waitress immediately realizes they're fake.
It looks like someone just printed out $1 on a piece of paper and cut it out.
These guys are just terrible.
These are terrible.
Jobs.
And I also love the
really
detectives.
I love the detective
yeah,
characters.
because one of them just goes, "What's?" and the other one goes, "Wooby-dooby-dooby," like a Friday night. Am I right?
One's just wacky comedic, and then one is what's his face from Fast and Furious?
Cops killed in my city. What a tragedy. It was like, donut.
Part of Tyrese Gibson's character is that and he was talking about this in interviews, was that his arm was like shot off or like hurt, and Morbius's artificial blood like saved it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's brought up once and doesn't go anywhere.
Oh yeah. He says he saved his life.
In interviews and stuff, he was like, "Oh yeah, I have this super cool. It's got like all these VFX on it on my arm, and it's gonna be I'm gonna have these powers. It's gonna be super cool." And then in the movie, they obviously were like, "No, just cut that out."
Yeah, he just doesn't.
The cops do nothing.
The cops do nothing.
Literally, the
not
whole
a
movie.
single thing.
I also love
three scenes.
Yeah,
and in each one of them, they ask Morbius 2 questions, and he just runs off. The second scene, they're just like standing around where like some bodies were killed. And then in the third scene, they're just standing in the middle of the street in New York, and bats like come out of the ground, and they're just like, bats.
But
apparently
they signed a 3-picture deal.
No, I love
3 of these.
That was a good choice.
I love when it's like early in the movie. It's after the cops find out they're at the hospital, and they're like, Morbius, and then he runs away, and he gets caught. But he has all of his powers, and he was using them right then, and then he just decides to stop. He just stops to get captured.
I also love that the final fight is just 2 vampire men just scratching.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a lot like Venom in the fact that in Venom it was 2 blobs fighting each other at night, and so you couldn't tell what anything was. In this movie, it's 2 clouds with claws fighting each other at night, so you still can't tell what anything is.
Which leads to a broader problem with this whole spum.
Oh, yeah, he can also turn into cloud. He turns into a cloud.
This whole spum.
Oh, he can turn into a bat too.
You know, like a bat does.
No, he can turn into a bat too.
He does not turn into a bat a single time in the movie.
Does not happen.
Yeah, he does.
Never happens once.
Remember, he goes purple and he turns into a bat and he flies to where the other guy is.
Oh wait, yeah, I think he did turn into a bat.
And he only did it once, so he can fly.
Yeah, no, I think
he can fly anywhere he wants.
Think he actually
and
did
he
turn into a bat.
doesn't.
Confusing Morbius total.
No, I'm serious. He turned into a bat. I'm not remembering this wrong.
Pull up the scene.
Pull it up. But anyway, which speaks to a broader problem with the spum, which is all of their main characters are villains in the comics.
Yeah, because they don't have Spider-Man anymore.
Whoever they're fighting is just them, but even eviler.
Yeah.
Venom 1 and 2 is just a different colored symbiote who's even badder.
Yeah.
And Morbius, it's another Morbius, but even
now,
bad.
I will say they did choose good characters to try and pivot, because Venom had been exceedingly popular in the comics. They had kind of made him more of an anti-hero.
They've been wanting to make a Venom movie for 30 years.
Well, I'm not talking about in the movie, but like in the comics, he had been a sort of more tame character for a long time, just because he was very popular and people wanted to see him in more of a hero role just because he's a popular character. And Morbius is a doctor, so I mean, you can kind of make him sort of less evil because he's like, at least he's trying. Like his whole motivation at the end of the day is he was trying to make a cure for this disorder, right? Like that was his main thing. So like you could see why he would sort of flip-flop as well. But like a character like Kraven the Hunter, who just like hunts people
because
he's just crazy. How do you flip it? He's just a crazy guy.
Well, Sam, you see, when he was a boy, he was bullied, and so he decided he wants to hunt people.
No, so here's what his origin story is going to be, and I guarantee that this is true.
We're gonna give him power.
No. He was either bullied in school or by his parents, like abused in some way. He had a pet dog or cat or something that was like his bestest friend, because that was the only person that didn't bully him. Either the school bullies or his parents.
He has a brother.
Either the school bullies or his parents, or maybe his brother. One of those, some person who's supposed to be close to him but is mean to him, kills the pet or whatever it is, and then he's like, "That's when I learned humans were the most dangerous animal of them all." And then now he starts hunting people. Like that's gonna be. I guarantee that's gonna be his origin story.
But like, even this at the end of this, they set up the villain for Morbius 2, a movie they won't make.
Yeah,
but in it's just gonna be another Morbius. It was just going to be another Morbius vampire lady.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, because his girlfriend at the end of the movie okay, so he at the end of the movie, I'm not even going to say spoilers because it doesn't matter. At the end of the movie, he finally breaks down and he drinks the blood of his girlfriend who was already stabbed because she was like dying anyway. And she's like, do it. I'm going to die anyway. Do it. And he's like, okay, fine. And he drinks her blood or whatever. And then at the very end, like the last scene of the movie, she opens her eyes and she has the glowy vampire eyes now, which then raises the question, why didn't everyone that they bit turn into vampire people?
I think the reason, I don't think she became a vampire lady because he bit her. I think it's, so he makes 3 of the serums, right? Mm-hmm. He takes one, his friend takes one, and then the other one is just there. I think there's a scene where like he's vaguely like biting her. I think what happened was that the bad guy injected her with the other vampire serum. They didn't
do it on screen.
And they didn't do it on screen.
That's so dumb.
That way it'd be a big reveal at the end. And so...
but they didn't reveal it at the end.
That's why she's a vampire lady. It's because she was injected with the vampire serum.
Yeah, that's really stupid.
Okay, I can't find a picture of it, but I vividly remember it because it's like the last part and he super hears like the guy talking to his sort of girlfriend, whatever, and then he like turns all like purpley and turns into a bat and flies. And I know what happened.
Okay. We have one more thing to talk about, Sam. And that is the masterpiece that is the post-credit scenes.
Oh, yeah. So
there's 2. They're both nonsense and perhaps the dumbest things ever put on screen.
I think I've seen a dumber post-credit scene than this one.
So the first one is the big purple rift in the sky from Spider-Man No Way Home appears, and Michael Keaton playing Adrian Toomes pops up in a prison in the Venom and the Morbius universe.
Let's ignore for a moment the fact that the way that the spell was set up in the Spider-Man movie would not do that, and that makes no sense at all.
And also, it looks like a plug-in, like looks like a plug-in effect from like iMovie.
Yeah, he literally like Star Trek gets beamed into the.
Yeah, he literally gets beamed into a prison cell.
Like there's like swirling magic effects around him,
which doesn't make any sense.
He literally sort of fades in and gets beamed into this prison cell.
Unless he got teleported into like the exact same place that like the prison from his world,
and it was like unoccupied for some reason.
And then they cut to a news report and they're going, Adrian Toomes is being released from jail because we don't know who he is and I guess he didn't do any crimes.
Yeah.
And so they let him out and they cut to a shot that was so
clearly added after the fact because Jared Leto looks totally different.
And then they let Adrian Toomes out of prison. And then there's the next post-credit scene, which might be the greatest moment in cinematic history.
So Morbius... He's driving. He's looking real cool.
He's driving out, and
wind in his hair, sun setting like a cowboy into the sunset.
With his car,
and then he stops.
Yeah,
in the middle of the road. Yeah, next to a dilapidated billboard, and then you hear a screeching in the distance. You see dust cloud forming on the horizon. Whoosh! The Vulture's there, and he's got his full mech suit.
And a new suit.
Which, by the way, doesn't exist in this universe. And the Chitauri technology doesn't exist in this universe either. So he would have no feasible way of making this suit. Ignoring all of that, he flies up, his mask comes off.
It doesn't even come off.
Whatever, his mask doesn't come off, I imagine that.
Obviously recorded on his phone, like in the closet.
So his piercing green eyes staring directly at Morbius goes, "Hey, Morbius, I think you and me could do some good.
No.
We got to put a crew together."
No. Okay, what happens is he flies up. He goes, "Morbius, I've been reading about you. I don't know why I'm here. I think it has something to do with Spider-Man." Looks directly at the camera. Spider-Man is a character you know. And he goes, "I think guys like us should team up and do some good." And then they cut to Morbius and he goes, "Intriguing." And then they cut to credits.
Yep.
And the Morbius shot is obviously a shot from like a deleted
different scene
that they just inserted into that scene. And just, we should team up and do some good. Why?
He might as well have just gone, "Hey,
we gotta put a crew
together. I got a job for you. I gotta put a crew together."
Makes no sense. It's the dumbest thing ever.
I found these 4 other guys. That would make 6
Morbius,
of us.
I think people in the theater would have laughed if there were people in the theater when we saw it.
There were like maybe 5 or 6 people.
We saw it like Friday night.
There was, I think,
not even that late.
There was one group of drunk college students behind us, and there was one family to our left. Yeah, and that was it.
That was, and no one else was in the theater.
Yeah,
and we were in like an XD theater.
Yeah, like the big one.
Like the big one with like 1 million seats in it.
Yeah,
and there was no one in there.
Yeah, what do you give Morbius?
No, but Sam, we got to talk about the future. They're doing Sinister Six.
We don't have. That's not going to happen. What do you give Morbius? We still got to talk about Attack on Titan and Twitter. So
don't see it. I give Morbius a don't watch it.
Yeah, I give it like a 3 or a 4 out of 10.
It's not the worst movie ever made, but it's not worth your time or money.
It's unabashedly unoriginal. Just literally watch the first Venom movie. It's better.
No, don't even watch Venom. Don't watch
any of them. Stop watching Sony movies. Watch a Disney movie instead.
Watch Blade.
No, go watch one of like the 4 good Sony movies.
Yeah, watch Blade. Blade's cool.
Watch Moon Knight
again. Go watch Blade.
Blade is literally this, but like way better and way cooler.
Yeah, go watch Blade.
Just watch Moon Knight again.
Legit a pretty cool movie.
That's a better Marvel movie about a vampire man.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's talk about Attack on Titan season 4 part 2. So it concluded.
When I check out.
Once they have split it into another part.
So yeah, they confirmed. So okay, well, let's talk about just the season first. Then we'll talk about the news.
I'm not.
You didn't watch the new episode? Max is stupid. Okay, fine. We'll talk about this next time. Instead, we'll talk about just the news part. So season 4 of Attack on Titan had 1 part last year. The second part came out this year. The last episode aired a couple days ago, and they confirmed that not only is season 4 getting a 3rd part, the second part is not the conclusion of the series, but that also the ending of the manga is being changed for the show.
At this point, I think I'm just gonna read the manga.
I'm still not gonna read it. I'll read it after, just because I want to see how it was different. But I definitely want to see the show first, because if they don't change it that much, then I don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah.
But if they change it like significantly, then I'll go back and I'll check out, see what's going on there.
Annoying, but also I guess it's fine.
It's annoying, but
I'd rather them do it.
I'd rather they delay it and do it well than rush it and do it bad. So that's fine with me. That's my general thoughts on that. Yeah, I was gonna talk about the whole. What episode did you just not watch? The most recent one. How many episodes behind are you?
After the Historia came back.
Historia.
Connie, like, spoilers. Connie's like about to kill Falco, and then Armin and Mikas show up. I think it's like that episode or the episode.
Okay, I don't remember what part you're talking
Historia, her thing melts because Eren summoned all the Titans. And
talking about Annie?
Or Annie? Is it Annie?
Annie is the female Titan. Historia is just the girl who is a descendant of the king.
Who was the girl that was frozen or not? Frozen?
Annie. Annie's the female Titan.
Okay, her. I think so.
So you got the part where Annie comes back.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So yeah, you need to catch up then.
You can spoil it.
Anyways, yeah, we'll talk about that next week then.
Are you done with the timeline?
Yeah. Young Justice season 4 part 2 episode 1.
Okay, Sam. Did either of us actually watch this?
I did watch.
You watch all 4?
There's only 1.
No, they released 4 new episodes.
No, they released 1 new episode. There's only 1 on there when I looked at it.
Next week.
They've done 4.
There's only 1.
Okay, let me check, Sam.
Fairly certain because they didn't have the play next episode thing when it was over. So
which one? When did they leave off on when they went on break?
So where did they leave off?
I thought they left
Connor had. I think it was Connor died. Because yeah.
Before we went on break, not.
Oh, we just finished the Morbius
first
review.
Episode of the show. What?
Well, we just finished the Morbius review when you.
Yeah, I know. What? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying in the show in Young Justice.
Yes.
Before they took a break in between in the season.
Yeah, like, Connor. I believe Connor died in the last episode.
No, that was in episode 3.
Like, yeah, but that was like they did his funeral stuff. Like that was where we left it. Like that was the big thing.
Okay, didn't they leave off in the 4th episode of the Magic Arc? Right?
No, the Magic Arc was resolved. They finished all that stuff.
So did they start the Atlantis arc and then just take a break in the middle of it?
Yeah, because the newest episode picks up like right at the beginning of the Atlantis stuff. Like the crux of the episode is there's like war and not the word. There's they are upset that the ocean is warming because of human. The shark tribe has been like invading other territory because theirs is too warm to survive, and they have to like expand their hunting grounds in order to like keep living, which is causing war and stuff with the Atlanteans, and that's the main thing that's going on in the first episode of part 2.
Okay, season 4. They stopped at the end of the Magic arc here.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and then they picked up So they released 3 episodes.
No, they released 1 episode.
No, they released 3. They released the first 3 episodes of the Atlantis arc.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay, you talk.
Part 2. So
Let's just talk
so
about
this
it next
season's
week.
been different than the rest of them. This one they've been doing like 4 episode arcs for like each of the original core characters. So, well, the first 4 was about Miss Martian and Superboy, and then the second 4 was Artemis. The next 5 were Zatanna, and then this arc is Aqualad.
Yeah.
And then the next ones will probably be Dick Grayson and.
Well, that is the lamest.
Aqualad's cool.
He's
got maybe the lamest.
He's just
He has the
Aquaman.
dumbest name, but his powers are cool.
Yeah,
He's generally a cool dude.
certainly a cool rad surfer man.
Cool rad man.
But based on the fact that I've seen none of these new 3 episodes.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one. We'll talk about that next week.
Talk about this next week.
Because I only saw
Or maybe when the show ends this season.
Yeah, because honestly, we don't.
Do you
care
think it's going to get picked up? That's the big thing.
I think they'll finish it. I think they'll finish the show.
Should I watch it?
Because this season seems to be build up for 5.
Which is what the show.
Mostly.
The show's been building up towards something.
Because they're teasing
since the first episode.
In the Magic arc, they started to tease what the big thing would be, which is that Vandal Savage and Darkseid made an agreement.
Yeah.
That they would have a big fight to see who's the best.
Yeah.
Between Earth and Apocalypse, which will obviously be the finale of the show. Is all of the characters team up with the villains and they have to fight Apocalypse. But depending on how long they want that to take is the real question.
Yeah. So.
Because do they want to get canceled again?
All right, so yeah, I think we will talk about that later. In tech time, we have Elon Musk bought 9.2% stake in Twitter, becoming the largest individual shareholder among those, including Jack Dorsey, who only owns, I believe, like 2% of Twitter.
Of the company he created.
Yeah, and Twitter stock also rose 25% after Elon announced this purchase. So Elon Musk was invited to join the board of directors. He is very likely going to accept. Twitter also announced that they are working on an edit. Well, they didn't announce that they were working on an edit button. Rather, Elon said, "Do you guys want an edit button?"
No, they officially announced it.
Well, no, he said, "Do you guys want an edit button?" The majority of people said yes. Then the CEO retweeted his poll and said, "Vote carefully. The ramifications of this poll will, be important."
Oh no!
Like that.
What happened was on April Fool's Day, they put out a video that says we're working on an edit button. Everyone thought it was a joke. Mm-hmm. And then the next day they were like, no, this is real. You've actually been working on this for months.
Wow, they picked a really stupid time to announce that.
Yeah, and then in the tweet they were like, yeah, we picked a bad day to announce this.
Yeah. But okay, so
it was not just and they said it wasn't just the Elon Musk poll. They said they've actually been working on it for months.
So
and they said they're going to test it on Twitter Blue, which is a thing that still exists for some reason.
Without getting overtly political, what do you think that Elon Musk's new leadership position in Twitter is going to lead to people getting unbanned?
I don't know if it'll lead to people getting unbanned. I think it might lead to less people being banned.
I think
pretty much
nothing
that
will
sounds
change.
pretty normal.
I think it'll be mostly.
I think
the
it'll
same.
change slightly, but I don't think it'll be very noticeable.
I don't think much is going to happen.
What's he gonna do?
I don't see him doing a whole lot. Okay.
All right.
I think that's pretty much it, everybody. There's no more news to cover. And so
we already talked about Morbius. So
we already talked about Morbius.
You know what? We should just end the podcast. Did you already cut?
No, I did not. It's still going.
I think we should just go ahead and announce the podcast is ending.
That's not true.
We've talked about Morbius.
Oh yeah, Morbius came out, guys. Last episode. It was all building up to Morbius.
It's we're gonna talk more about Moon Knight because Sam will have watched.
I will have watched
the episode and Sonic 2. Sonic 2 comes out this week.
Alrighty. See you guys later.